Good morning, Yinka. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Well, welcome back, everyone. Today is Wednesday, and every day in March with our International Women Blockchain event. What are Wednesdays? Wednesdays are worldwide Wednesdays. So we're going to have a day full of conversations about Web3 and the blockchain space. We welcome you back. Thank you for being here. We want to just make sure you're sharing where you are with all your friends and all your family and all your followers on social media. Make sure you're tweeting about this. Make sure you're ready to join the Discord to be a part of the conversation when we're not live on air. So, what do we have planned for the day, Yinka?
Well, today, as you mentioned, is Worldwide Wednesdays, and we're going to be talking about Web3. We're going to go across the ocean, actually, to Africa and talk about how NFTs are impacting Africa. I'm really excited with the next panel discussion. Actually, we have one individual right now, but later on, it will add more individuals to the discussion. And we're going to have a really deep conversation about how NFTs are impacting Africa and what it can do for the continent. I'm very excited about that discussion. And I think it's going to be a really thorough discussion that's going to have a lot of information and a lot of insight because we know how NFTs is impacting the US and the Western world is doing a phenomenal job in showcasing unknown artists and giving them a platform to be able to sell their work. But now it's like, what about countries that really can benefit off of these technologies? And as everyone knows, or maybe you don't, I have always been an advocate of how NFTs can impact the developing countries. And at least blockchain can impact the developing countries. And I think NFTs is one of those use cases that we're seeing a lot of individuals that oftentimes are overlooked getting the support, the interest, and the financial freedom that they're looking for when it comes to living, right? And so when they navigate through this space, they're able to tap into that and reap the benefit of it. So I think it's going to be fantastic to have that discussion.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a good discussion. So, I can't wait to get into it.
Yes, 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 yes. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to have Tam come up, and she's going to be our moderator for this particular session. Good morning, Tam. How are you?
Good morning, Yinka. Good morning, Natasha. I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Good, good, good. Now,
Excellent.
how has your travels been, and where have you been?
Well, travel has been great. I'm actually currently in Tucson, Arizona. In the past week, I've been from Mexico. I went up into Texas, in Austin and Houston, back home for a little bit, and then now I'm headed on the way to California. So it's been really great. I'm happy I could tap in, wherever I'm at. It's been so dope. Like the fact that this conference has been broadcast, and no matter where I'm traveling over for the rest of the duration of this month, I know I could tap in and link up with you ladies and get myself some good information, the stuff that I've been interested in, and really make these connections. So it's been wonderful.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm very excited that you're able to tap in. I'm excited to have you here today. So I can't wait for you to introduce this wonderful lady and for us to dive in and get to know her a little bit more. So take it away.
Excellent. Thank you, Yinka. So I'm Tam Fitzgerald. I am a financial advisor and international mukbanger, which means that I travel around the world eating food and documenting my experience. And I also utilize life insurance as a tool in order to help people and their families create generational wealth as well as tax-free retirement planning. So that's what I do. So I'm not a techie by any means, but I'm interested in this space because it is literally the next wave of the world, and I'm so excited today to talk specifically about Africa and the way in which they are adopting NFTs and the things that they have in store for NFTs in this Web3 space. So welcome, and we're going to go ahead and bring up our first panelist. There we
Good
go.
morning.
Hello. Good morning. And I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
Hi, Sam, and thank you, Yinka and Natasha, for setting all of this up. I think it's been such a great endeavor, and specifically the focus on Africa is dear to my heart. My name is Maya Lapine. I am the founder of the African Artists Coalition. I am a Rwandan Canadian artist who is very passionate about cultural preservation and heritage celebration. And I'm just really looking forward to today's chat.
Excellent. So am I. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what got you started here in the NFT space?
Well, like a lot of people, several years ago, I missed the Bitcoin boat.
Mhm.
And I've had a few people, try to get me into blockchain and crypto and Web3. And for a long time, being a very analog thinking woman, I, hesitated and struggled in wrapping my mind around the landscape and really what does this mean for me, because I'm very conservative when it comes to investments. And then time went by, and then a friend of mine tried to pull me back into crypto again. I want to say 2.5 years ago. And I said, I'm not missing the boat this time. I'm trusting your advice. But then I need to fall down the rabbit hole and really understand what I'm doing. Right. So I invested first and then learned after, and really started falling way deep down the rabbit hole, kind of like a very nerdy Alice in Wonderland, and really wanting to understand everything. And obviously, as you probably know, the more we learn, the more we realize there is to learn. And
Absolutely.
as an artist, right? And as an artist, I figured, let me be my own guinea pig, right? And a lot of my art is based off of traditional Rwandan patterns called imigongo. This is one of my pieces behind me here. And I said, you know what? Let me plant a flag, right? We've seen a lot of African art being produced by non-African countries and being marketed as such. And it was very important to me that in this new landscape, that flags be planted on behalf of our community. Meaning, I just didn't want someone who was non-Rwandan to create the first Rwandan imigongo NFT. And so I did that. And it picked up a little bit of momentum. I was, featured on some marketplaces, and I realized, okay, there's something to it. And then obviously with Web3, we all know our creative range just explodes once we start to really understand all of the infinite possibilities that are available to us. And I really wanted to see, how do I apply that to my mission of being a service to my community? So being an artist was just kind of a hobby. I'm never trying to necessarily be on the forefront of it, because there's so many more amazing artists on the continent that deserve this shine. And I really wanted to help bridge the gap between understanding Web3 infrastructure as it relates to communities in African artists, and how can they utilize these utilities to expand their market and be properly valued. So this really just started as a weird experiment that turned into really sparking a much deeper passion for utilizing Web3 technology to bridge the gap between infrastructure and the creators economy that we're all developing right now.
Wow. So I'm really excited, like, to take some more notes on, because I know you have a lot, you're going to bring a lot of value to this conversation. Just hearing how you got into the space, like, I'm kind of the same. I didn't start like, on a, like, oh, I'm going to get in here and get rich or anything. Like, I was just like, what is this? Like, very much from a curious space and wanting to know more. And so, okay. And now we have, thank you so much, Maya. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our first question. So the first question I have for you is, I was wanting to like everybody make sure that you get your papers, get your pen, get ready to take some notes, because that's what I'm gonna be doing here. Every time I moderate, I'm always taking some notes. All right, so we got Yinka joining us. Hello, Yinka. Alrighty, so you guys, Yinka, go ahead and give your introduction again. I'm pretty sure people might be familiar, but go ahead and give your introduction. We don't want to leave you out just in case this is somebody's first day.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Yinka O'Denoran. I am the founder of Black Women Blockchain Council. I'm also one of the creators of the IWB event that you guys are seeing now and experiencing. I actually came from a non-traditional background. I was in the financial industry, and I was a chief compliance officer at the time when I was introduced to blockchain. By the way of Bitcoin, really. I had a friend who told me that I needed to get into Bitcoin. I did ignore him, just like Maya, right? We do that, right? We're females, we do that. And then we take our time, right? When we keep hearing it over and over, then we do our deep dive, our research. It was actually the research that led me to blockchain. And blockchain was like, wow, it was a mind-blowing experience, because at that time, a lot of people confuse blockchain with Bitcoin. It was synonymous. And I was just like, no, don't do that. So the technology within itself was something that I felt like it was beneficial for the entire African diaspora, our community, right? Also, around that time, we were about to go through election season in the US. And every time there's an election season, there's always this question about who could vote, who can't vote, whether, there's that lack of trust, right, as to, the individuals that are able to vote. And so with that in mind, on one hand, and then I'm Nigerian on the other hand, so, I know the issues with Africa and the African governments and, owning up to what they say that they're going to do. And so I was like, wow, this technology, man, the transparency, the ledger, the accountability it could create, all of these things. I was just like, you know what? This is perfect. This is what we need. We need the technology to help us facilitate the type of governance structure that we need in Africa, right? Because in Nigeria, historically, we've had our government officials go to another country, particularly London for some reason, and stash money over there, right? And it does not benefit the citizens who are working hard and hoping that their government officials would do the right things. And so this was a technology that I felt was like the ideal, the solution that we were seeking. And that's how I became a blockchain enthusiast. And creating BWBC allowed me to educate the community about blockchain, as well as promote Black women who are in the space, who are doing and working just like Maya, and yourself, and all the other ladies that have graced our stage during this event. That I just think it's wonderful. I think it's fantastic being able to tap into that community and having people surround you who are educated and getting to know the technology and run the gambit. So I'm really excited.
Excellent. Thank you, Yinka. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get started with our first question. My first question is, a survey by Finder in November of 2021 ranked Nigeria as the 6th largest adopter of NFTs and South Africa as the 12th. The survey also hints that NFT adoption will more than double in these countries due to the high interest. So what has it been like on the ground in Africa, and like what in your conversations, what kind of conversations are happening in your circles with those of African ancestry? And Maya, go ahead and answer. Go ahead, Maya, answer for me.
What we're seeing really is kind of an extension of what we're experiencing here in America, which is an insatiable appetite for knowledge. A lot of us, including Yinka, are really focused on helping with the onboarding. And I think that we are really at the stage where everyone's curiosity is more than piqued. Long gone are the days where we're dismissing the idea of Bitcoin. We're starting to understand, the value of crypto and tokenomics. And I think a lot of the conversations that are happening at the coalition for me, which is we're just basically a collective of artists and technologists and art lovers and collectors who are really focused on the promotion and celebration of African artistry, but also on the cultural preservation aspect of it and what efforts we can do on that sense. So I'm getting a lot of artists who are saying, I've heard about this NFT. How do I make an NFT? I'm working on a workshop right now. I know Yinka is doing the same. And really the prevalent thought is, what is this? How we can get in on it? How is it that all these people are making all this money with it? And how can we do the same? I just want to share my art, but also I want to make some money, right? So that appetite for knowledge, and we're really in this onboarding wave. And thankfully, we've had the privilege of being a little bit ahead of the curve, right? And so now it's our responsibility to really give that back. So there's an appetite for it, but there's also a desire on our part to share the knowledge. So it's a beautiful marriage at this point, I think.
I think that is beautiful. Go ahead, Yinka. What have you been experiencing?
I agree with everything that Maya said. I think, in honesty, giving that NFTs is allowing a lot of unknown individuals come into the space and be able to use it as a vehicle to create that wealth, showcase their talent. I think the ideal spot right now for the next phase is Africa. One of the projects that I want to bring forward is NFT Africa, which is a workshop that basically goes to every country and touch 300 women in each country and introduce them to the technology, introduce them to NFTs, and help them go from that beginning to the end, go through the whole process, understand it, and be able to see the value in it. I honestly think, and we haven't tapped into the various use cases yet, right, for NFTs. I think the tapestry alone in Africa, the different type of artwork, the creativity, we still have not tapped into that yet. We're still in this PFP phase, right? And, it's slowly dying down, and now real artists are coming back to shine again, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think in being able to introduce this technology or this use case to our fellow countrywomen, countrymen is very important, and allowing them to be able to tap into it when, they might not have any other reliance for resources or for money, right? But they can use what their God-given creativity and talents are to be able to create something. I mean, we have NFT, what is it, wearables, right? And right. Africa has like all kinds of awesome, tires and
right. The fabrics are crazy.
Fabrics, right? And then I was in Artsy's world, and she had like dinner. She had a turkey. It was kind of like a Thanksgiving Day, dinner set. And I'm thinking, what about the jollof rice? What about all these things? Like we still haven't tapped into it yet, because we're making a metaverse, and we're in this space. I think there's so much that we can really do that we need everybody's involvement, right? And I think Africa is one of those places dear for me that needs to definitely be wholeheartedly in this space, creating, adding, and taking it to the next level.
I 100% agree. And I think that's going to lead us actually to my next question, which is, do you feel that NFT adoption for the African diaspora is critical, and why or why not? So go ahead, Yinka.
Yes. yes. It is critical. It is critical because, as I mentioned, for oftentimes, the currency is not where it should be, right? Because of some mismanagement of government, mismanagement of somebody, right? And historically, we've always been kept at a certain level, right? I know in some countries back in the 80s, their currency was valued against the gold. So therefore, their currency weighed more than the US dollar at that point. But now, with everything that's going on, a lot of African countries, their currency is like nothing, right? So a lot of people see value in cryptocurrencies, and also they see value in NFTs because it allows them to showcase new work, new creations, new art to the rest of the world. It's allowing, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And I honestly think if you want to see a great use case of this whole decentralization aspect that we're talking about, look to Africa, honestly, because Africa needs it. It's not just a want, or it's not a must have, right? It's a need. And when you have people that need it, you have people that really are using it with the intended purpose. So I honestly, I think Satoshi will be proud, right?
Right.
What it was meant to do. In the US, it's nice to have. We're keeping it, we're storing it, we're allowing it to build value. But in Africa, they're using it, right? They're literally transacting, and I think that's to me, that's where I look to, and not just Africa, other developing countries, right? We have El Salvador that just recently did their whole transfer of their tenders to Bitcoin, right? So there's countries that actually are using this for the intended purpose. And honestly, I think that NFTs is one of those things that's very valuable to Africans, and well, not just Africans, the entire African diaspora, right?
Right.
So we're seeing a lot more of our people being able to tap into it and being able to find value and money, and be able to generate income from this. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
No,
I think that's a super
I agree.
important. Go ahead, Maya.
No, I completely, wholeheartedly agree with Yinka. I think it's NFT adoption is so critical in Africa, but it's also not in a dramatic way, right? In a very uplifting and inspiring, and oh my God, we have so many possibilities. When we're looking at pay equity, for example, right? An engineer in Africa might not be making the same as an engineer in New York, right? Why is that?
Right.
Because the market is different, all these different reasons that's way. But ultimately, they should be getting paid the same.
Right. I agree. You got the same education.
So when
The same know-how.
when you fall back on crypto, you're looking at one thread, one currency, so to speak, across the world. So that's just a small part of how impactful it can really be. And I think that most people don't know this, but the African art is number one in the world art market. And during COVID,
I did not know that.
Yep. During COVID, African art sales went up because of NFT, because of digital galleries. So where people are thinking like, oh, we don't have as much money to spend on the collectors aren't going to buy. Oh, they're buying. But they're buying what they have access to, or the stories that they're being engaged in, right? When you're a collector, you're really buying into the story, not so much so as just the art itself. And I think that Africans have an amazing, amazing story to share. What we're seeing right now is very pivotal, because when we're talking about currency devaluation that has happened, these are all the results of colonial demarcations back in the Berlin Conference in the 1800s, right? So we are still paying the financial price to our colonizers, right? You have a lot of West African countries whose money are still based in French banks, right? And they can't pull it all out.
Wow. Yes.
Right? So when we're talking about finally making right where we have been affected social economically by a trickle down of these colonial demarcations, which separated kingdoms that were never meant to be separated, which sparked, tribal wars that should have never happened if someone hadn't come in and said, here's the line, you guys are this, you guys are, I'm Rwandan, guys, right? What happened in Rwanda in the 90s is not just one day people decided to not get along. It was actually the second event, and there was another one back in the 70s. These are all results of this. So as we're seeing this repatriation of our peers, our first generation, second generation, born outside of the continent that are now returning back to Africa, they're saying, I'm here now. What can I do to help? How can I be of service? Forget all the stress that I'm experiencing in the Western world. I want to live the good life. I'm coming back here. What can I do? Right? And now what we're seeing is a digital repatriation that is coming along with it. And this digital repatriation and the work that Yinka are doing and the work that you're doing, the work that everyone is doing to really help speed up this learning curve is this evening out of the rat race that Africa has been trying to do for generations after generations. But it's hard to do when you're on the financial thumb, right? You remove that thumb, you crack open possibilities for the continent. And that's why people are saying Africa is the future, because we haven't even begun to tap in to the potential of our brothers and sisters on the continent, but also the diaspora who are just so enthused about giving back. So it is critical, and NFT is just a small fruit from a much bigger decentralized tree that is going to help everyone understand that long gone are the days where you need to leave the continent to see your value fully executed. I want my African brothers and sisters to understand that, yes, we have had some privilege going to school in the States, going to school in Europe, amazing jobs here, salaries are better there. But ultimately, the wealth of Africa has been pillaged for so long.
Yes,
it is
absolutely.
time for us to grow and sell our own fruit, as opposed to growing fruit and having it just taken it from us and here's a couple pennies, right?
Yes.
So the digital value is just as important. And I think that that's why I'm so enthused by this, because the possibilities are endless.
Wow, you just gave me like this whole, like, I literally have goosebumps. Like when you said about the fact that like we can really take this technology and come out from under that thumb, like I literally got goosebumps like thinking about that, because I'm a firm believer in that. Like, we start a lot of stuff. Like we move the culture forward. Like, our African diaspora everywhere. Like, we are influencers. We create our imagination, and it's oftentimes been, like you said, taken from us and given pennies in return, if we get the pennies. So this is a very exciting space for the continent and everyone of African ancestry, and I'm super excited about it as well. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next question. Thank you so much for that, truly. All right, we're gonna move on to the next question. The next question is, according to an article by venturesafrica.com, most people flooding the NFT space are doing so for speculative reasons. However, Africans can do more with NFTs than flipping digital arts for quick profits. And Yinka, you touched on this a little bit, but what are some of the other uses for NFTs in the African diaspora?
Well, the other usage really is the ability to, like NFTs is giving people the ability to participate, right, in this ecosystem. So being able to participate, there's just like in the US, there's, business persons or business owners, right? They are looking to scale their business, and, they can use it as marketing. Right? They can use it as an opportunity to create a book. You can create an NFT book, right? You can create an NFT resume. You can NFT is just a vehicle, right? And so long as there's a digital assets that you want to create, you could literally just attach it and create it as an NFT. And it's allowing people to be able to tap into different type of things. As I mentioned, in the metaverse, we need wearables, right? And you can create an NFT wearable. I like to be in my gele, right? And my, bubai and iro, and have an NFT that my avatar can wear and represents me in the metaverse, right? I like to, as I mentioned, I like to have the food, right? Even in the metaverse, And so, and creating NFTs out of that allows us to participate, allows us to tap in. And I think that's one of the things that, it's far greater than just, oh, I'm just creating something, but it's cementing our involvement in the space onto the blockchain.
Absolutely. And I think another thing that really excites me about that is specifically the ledging, right? So when we're talking about African artistry and we're looking backwards and we're thinking about all of the African art theft that has occurred over time, moving forward, being able to attach an NFT to legacy art pieces eradicates this problem. That means 1,000 years from now, somebody finds my painting and they scan it and they realize, oh, this NFT was created back in 2020 by such and such artist. And if for some reason some big museum wants to have it in there and say, look what we found, my lineage can then go back and say, hold on a second, this is ours, right? Put it back where it belongs.
Right.
So I'm already having discussions with museums in Africa to really start the conversation about how can we attach NFTs to legacy pieces so that these pieces that already exist, that completely analog, have nothing to do with NFT and digital, that you can only see when you go to some random little town that has the Heritage Cultural Center in that specific village. It's the only time you can see it. But once you tag an NFT experience to it, then you create a virtual gallery. You're having potentially people worldwide coming in and taking our cultures. So that's the celebration aspect of it. But the preservation aspect of it, it means that if somebody wants to steal the physical object one day, good luck at trying to prove provenance.
Right?
So that's another part of it that really excites me, is the tie-in between the physical and the digital certificate.
Yeah, you know what? Just to speak on that, you just reminded me that there is someone who's doing that effort. And also what I just recently read was that the Smithsonian have agreed to give back the Benin bronze statue, right? And that's like historical, right?
Yeah, that's huge.
That's like a whoa moment, because that it would never happen. And, during the colonization phase, right, they took all of these things, they burned, historical places, but took the artifacts. And oftentimes they kept it in the basement of the museums. They, people keep it in their private vaults. It's all over the place, but it's not with the original owners, right? And to have now the Smithsonian acknowledge the fact that this is not ours, it's not ours to keep, it should go back to the people. And mind you, historically, their excuse was, because this isn't the first time that people have asked for this.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, those people don't know how to take care of this thing. What?
It's ours. What do you mean?
They don't know how to take care of their own stuff that they created. And so it was just like, it was a slap in the face, but for them to finally acknowledge the fact that we should give this back. It's not ours to keep. I think that's significant within itself. And I want other museums and, people who have it in their private vaults to really acknowledge the fact that it's not theirs, right? And let us start owning stuff that belongs to us, right? We have Queen of England, that all of her colonies, they've managed to take something that was valuable to those people. And even in her crown jewel, she has like, stones that don't belong to her. India has their stuff that, they're trying to get back. All of Africa has their stuff that they're trying to get back. And so to have this phase, I think it's great, right? And so that brings me back to an individual that I know in the NFT space that's actually using NFTs to shine a spotlight on African masks, right? That were created by all kinds of, cultures and tribes in Africa. And these masks were significant to them. But the thing is, the narrative that was left behind was that these masks are evil, right? So therefore, the people don't want the mask. They didn't really care. While the museums is like showcasing the mask, they're benefiting, people's private vaults, all these things, right?
Right.
They're benefiting artifacts that came from the people, right? And now this individual is creating a 3D mask, to like tell the story, right? And when I hear Kofi's story, every time that he tells it about these masks, regardless of how many times I've heard it, it always brings me back to a stage of just learning about my culture, even though these are masks from all over Africa. But it's like I'm an African learning about the significance of artifacts that was created by people in my country, right? And this is the first time that I'm learning about it because we don't talk about these things. We've been made to assume that these things were not good, right? And you don't talk about it, you don't look at it. But however, there's significance to it. We're learning that these things represent so much more. I mean, there's a true love mask. There's a mask that basically charts the consonants, right? By the Dogon tribe, right? And it's just like there's so much more that's out there that we did not know but was removed, right? And so, when we say our people don't have history, we do have history. We wrote it down or we created it, right? But when it was taken from us, it made us seem like we didn't have that history, and we do. We have a rich culture, a rich history. And I'm just, happy that finally the Smithsonian is taking the first step in saying, you know what, let's give this thing back.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And by the way, I have that True Love NFT from Kofi.
Oh yeah.
I'm obsessed with African masks, and I think again I was eating up all the blurbs about each of the masks. I was on that marketplace forever, and I had to pick just the right one. And I'm African too, like you said. And I think that stepping just a smidge beyond outside an NFT, that's what's so exciting about the so-called metaverse or metaverses, whichever way you want to look at it, is that we can now create what we lost access to. Mm-hmm. So a lot of our history was oral tradition. You'd sit with the elders or your aunties and uncles, and you're getting over time bits and pieces of information on your heritage and your culture. And for those that were born outside of the continent, first, second generation, but there's still a desire to stay connected, to want to understand, but you may not have access to those aunties, and uncles.
Absolutely.
And the circle of elders, which is so important. So important. Our elders are so important. They hold the knowledge. But I say all that to say, with the metaverse now, and I'm going to put my idea out there. If somebody takes it, good on you. But
listen, there's space for us all in the metaverse.
Right, I don't care. But it's something that I really, really am fascinated about. What if you could put on your Oculus and just push a button, find yourself in the middle of your parents' village, and you had someone there waiting for you, an elder and others that are just sitting around, that are sharing these stories with you. Right?
Wow.
So now you're taking an extra component. You don't even have to physically travel there. You can just put on your mask and here's your village and here's today's story. How amazing is that we can do that in the metaverse? Like the spirit of community and family is being expounded on immensely. And so when I say that NFT is just a little bit part of it, it's really a doorway into much bigger utility of what's available around cultural preservation and celebration. And that's why it's so critical to have these conversations, because people just don't know. But sometimes all it takes is just dropping a little thought to really flourish, right? That's why I don't care. You can take my idea. If somebody does it, good on you. Let me know. Give me free membership, right? And I'll help you create the Rwandan portion of the world. But ultimately, it's bigger than that. This isn't about money. This is about supporting each other into this next level of expansion. And Africa has been ripe for so long that it has been almost depleted, but it has an amazing capability of renewing itself through the people and all these new generations that keep coming back with such resiliency and grace. And I think that it's amazing to observe, and that's why we're so moved to want to be a part of it and to want to be of service in that sense. So shout out to you again, Yinka, for all the efforts that you're doing. Nobody sees all of the pieces that have to come together to make this happen. But to anybody who's watching, I encourage you to go back and watch some of these other panels, dig deeper into it, reach out to Yinka. She's amazing. If you're an African artist, hit me up, African Artists Coalition. I'll get you added to the conversation. We're really just all here to help.
Thank you so much for that, Maya. Like, you really spoke to something like I was thinking about, because I am one of those so far removed, like, generations. Like, I couldn't even begin to tell you, where my people originally came from in Africa, but an idea of something like that is just so powerful to be able to create that connection, that link that we've missed, especially for those like, here in America and literally like all over the world, who we don't really have like we don't feel often people in like my generation that I've had conversations with, we don't feel that real connection. We're wanting it, we want to know more, but we don't even really know where to start. And just to know that the metaverse and like the blockchain technology and NFTs, all these are things, are just little things that are going to eventually help us to build that bridge. Is so exciting. And that's the reason why I'm tapped in. Like, that's another reason why I'm tapped in. Education of my people, but also like I want to have connection. Like, I want to have connection to my people. And so that's super exciting. And it's a really great point that you made there. So right quick, we're going to take a quick break, but make sure that you guys are hitting up Twitter. Make sure that you are tweeting out that you're tuning in to us today. Also, we want to send a thank you to our sponsors. We have Block and Hero and Yinka. I'm sorry, last.
Yeah, so we have Defantasy as well as Seed Safe.
Yes, and Copper Seed Safe. So thank you to all of our sponsors. You guys hang on. We got more of this coming up after this 5-minute break. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. Alrighty, so we're going to continue the conversation here. We are just on this Worldwide Wednesday. We are discussing the NFT impact on the African diaspora. I'm going to be joined again by Yinka and Maya. There we are. Hello, ladies. Welcome back. And we're also going to bring to the stage Massine. We're going to give her a moment to introduce herself. Massine, let me know when you're ready and we'll bring you on up.
All right. I think we were having some, really deep conversation before we went to break.
Absolutely.
And, Maya had mentioned that that it's very important for us as Africans to tap into this whole NFT space. And it's true. This whole blockchain space period is very true. There is a study that said that Africa has the youngest demographic of people, right? So as we get older, Africans are going to be, the one that essentially will probably outlive a lot of people, right? And it's important for the resources that are available to all of us right now be consistently made available to people in the African diaspora as well. And I would love to continue this discussion and tap into, not just NFTs, but how the entire Web3 space that we're creating right now. I mean, Web3 is all about, individuals controlling their own data, choosing who they interact with, and having that much more of a control. Knowing that in Nigeria, our government is trying to regulate the control, right? They've created their own CBDC. It's called the e-Naira. And, they're restricting the citizens' involvement in cryptocurrencies. And at one point, they actually banned it, right? They banned the banks from even allowing people to take out money or even store or be able to, exchange Bitcoin to the Naira or any other cryptocurrencies at one point. And they during the End SARS movement as well, where a lot of people were able to fight for their rights, right, as citizens against police brutality. They realized that a lot of the movement was spearheaded by individuals who were able to receive cryptocurrencies to allow them to continue on. And so the government decided that, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies weren't the things that they were going to allow to happen. And that's why they came up with that ban. They also saw ultimately what we hope the future would be, that government officials cannot control or regulate how you navigate. And they saw that they couldn't benefit off of cryptocurrency, right? There was no way for them to, take a little bit here, a little bit there, and it really should. That's why I keep saying, like, if you want to see a use case, look to Africa, right? Look to everything that's happening and seeing that, this space is really transforming and changing a lot of the things that historically were the citizens were prevented from interacting with, but it's creating the opportunities on a greater scale than we could ever imagine for a lot of people. So, we have Mahasin is here. Let's go ahead and bring her up. Let's go ahead and continue the discussion with Maya. If you want me to, I can leave and have the ladies discuss.
Oh no, I enjoy you. I enjoy you being here, Yinka. I'm gonna let Maya decide, but I enjoy your input, especially on this topic, because I think it really is very important about the idea of us getting into the space to understand that there's other options than, like, say, CBDCs that are created by governments that literally give them like all the control to know, like, where you're spending, where you been. Like, you have to understand. Like, people need to get into to understand, like, what that really means. Like, a government CBDC, what can that actually look like, and how actually that's a super dangerous space, right? But there are other options here in the metaverse where you can interact. And, like, you said Bitcoin, like, I know Bitcoin can't really be stopped because it's not controlled by a central entity, right? Mm-hmm. But people we really have to get into the space to understand that, to know what that even means to be decentralized, like, or what centralization looks like, and the differences between the two, and how choosing one or the other can really affect your entire life. And especially for a people that have continued to be under the thumb of others, like, I think this is the best opportunity for us to rediscover, like, true freedom and what it would really look like to really have our culture, like, come back together and be able to communicate with those who might have been who might have suffered, like, just because of not to anything of their own, right, but just their families and everything might have suffered because they were really ripped away from the culture. And so it's a very important topic, and I really love the idea that, getting us back together and getting us to understand this information, not just NFTs, right, but understanding the entire collective of the blockchain and the technology, helping us to I would say, like, relieve the veil off your eyes, like, right, like, you have the power, you have all of your creativity, and you can utilize it here in this space, and it is amazing to think about. So thank you. I would like for you to say, but Maya, go ahead.
No, I think it's part of the natural cycle of change, right? When we're thinking about anti-crypto policies and a little bit of the panic that we're seeing. We're even seeing this, I don't know if people are familiar with the XRP case with the SEC right now, but that's really going to set a precedent. But whenever you challenge the status quo, there's a little bit of a panic from the powers that be.
Sure,
and Africa
absolutely.
is not immune to that, right? Africa is not immune to that. And we could go all the way back, and when we were referring to, taking a little bit off the top, well, where does that come from? We've had to learn to do that because all we had was scraps that were left for us, right? So it's we have to look at it in a little bit of a less contrasting way and more of a human approach, which is, yes, all these things are going on. They're not going to make it easy for us. But I hate to be cliche, anything worth having has never been easy, right?
Right.
And I think
I agree.
right. And as we shorten this learning curve, and as we help everyone on board, and people become more educated and understand the landscape a lot more, solutions are going to come from that. A lot more clarity is going to come from that. And I think, I dare say, revolutionary efforts are going to come from that. And you're going to see a challenge of these policies that do not support this emerging and exploding creators economy. And I really believe that, as Africans, we definitely know how to fight for what we want, be it, it's not a diplomatic thing for me to say, but be it against the government, or be it against anyone that is still pushing that oppressive thumb, because we're tired, right? We're tired. And it reminds me, I'm a huge fan of Tupac, and there was an interview he did, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically he was saying, if you're a group of hungry people standing outside of this amazing restaurant, and you're seeing people eat their food and enjoying it, and you just knock and you're like, hi, I'm hungry, can I get a little something, and then after knocking for a while, you're like, hey, I'm hungry. And then after a while, you're like, hey, knocking on the door, please let us in. And then in true Tupac fashion is, came through the door busting, and like, it's the next level, right? And
next
so
level.
what we're seeing is a driving of the momentum, which is being supported by this hunger and this appetite for more knowledge, because we understand that this knowledge is going to serve a greater mission. So yes, these, anti-crypto sentiment and policies that are there are just a form of panic. And if we understand true human nature, we know that it's okay, let them panic, but we're going to keep chipping away at what we need to do, because something is going to come out of it at the end of the day. And all this resistance is just at some point going to break the dam loose, and the flow is just going to be next level. And we're seeing a lot of these efforts here as well. We're seeing minorities that are just fighting for inclusivity in Web3. And we're basically just an extension of that. The African continent, the diaspora, we are a reflection of our brothers and sisters in America that are also fighting for the same thing. So these conversations that we're having, this bridging of the gap, is a really coming together of a worldwide community that has had its vision set on the same message, which is, let's get out from under that thumb and let's start doing things ourselves as a community and supporting each other, so that we are no longer dependent on pre-colonial demarcation residual effects, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is so true, by and like you said, these conversations are really bridging that gap, and it's great. So we're being joined right now and by Masin. If you take off your you have your mute on, but go ahead and introduce yourself.
Mahasin, are you there? So Mahasin is joining us from Nigeria. So,
Okay.
that's probably the reason why we don't see her avatar or her camera. But if she can, go ahead. Hi, Mahasin. How are you? All right. That's, technology sometimes when you're having an international Women of Blockchain event and you're having women from all across the globe.
Absolutely.
Into some technical issues. Unfortunately, we cannot hear you, Mahasin. You might want to leave and then come back. It could be, unfortunately, the way technology
The connection.
sometimes.
Yes. Yes.
Everywhere, right? And hopefully we will get to that point where everyone is experiencing the same type of technology, the same type of bandwidth. But sometimes it happens like that when you're interacting with people all across the globe. So we're hoping to have her come back on stage. But in the meantime, Maya, if you can stay, we do have another panel that we want to bring up and give them their moment to shine. And then we'll come back and continue the discussion.
Thank you, ladies, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us.
And we'll see you in a few.
Hello and welcome back to Worldwide Web3 Wednesdays. Our next section that we're going to come up with, we have the co-founders of HeyLayer with us, Marina and Ala, and we're going to bring them up to the stage right now, and they're going to give you a little bit of information about what HeyLayer is. Super excited. Welcome, ladies.
Hello. Thank you so much for having us.
Excellent.
With Tam or Tamara?
It's it's short for Tamara. Yeah, but I go by Tam.
Wonderful. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So welcome, ladies. I understand that you all are the co-founders of HeyLayer. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Sure. I will start, if you don't mind, Marina. So my name is Ala Koretsky. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders. And HeyLayer is a one-stop NFT management platform built on stacks and secured on Bitcoin. So we essentially make NFT campaigns accessible to creators and brands and allow them to enter into Web3 with the least amount of resistance. So we provide a no-code solution that includes free and easy minting, so no gas fees, which is a big hurdle that a lot of new creatives have to overcome. We provide customized storefronts. We do credit card checkouts. We do minting APIs, essentially for a complete white label integration. So HeyLayer is a woman-led company with a diverse international team, and we are committed to creating a more sustainable future and leveraging Web3 to do good in the real world.
Wow, that is super exciting. Like the idea of, listen, my ears peak, and I know a lot of people out here with the NFT culture, like in artists peak when you said no gas fee. So we're going to get into that a little bit later on. Like, all right, so, but Ala, Marina, so share your story of how you got into Web3.
Well, I'm Marina Romashka, and I'm as well co-founder and CEO and Ala's best friend. we work a lot together, but the story goes way back. I don't think we were planning to go into crypto or blockchain. I think it was by accident. Ala and our another co-founder, CTO, they're cousins. And Gary and I used to be more of like, I used to be his business coach. Then we became friends. We always want to have a business together. And then we had one day, Gary and I had an idea, and he said, well, Ala is my cousin, always want to have business with me. And so we got all three together and we had an idea, and it's a bit of a long story. It started with socks on blocks. So we wanted to put socks on a blockchain. And we actually did that, right, Ala? We did NFT before it was NFT. And so for almost a year, we were building a Dropbox experience on blockchain, specifically on stocks. And eventually last May, we kind of pivoted into more of NFT, and specifically NFT, what you just said about gas fees. So I think we've done a lot of market research, and what we realized that it's not really accessible to people who can not pay a lot of gas fees, and gas fees usually are very high, or people who don't have a lot of knowledge or time to spend to get into blockchain. And so I think we saw the pain, and I think Ala and I, us not being from blockchain, we kind of felt very passionate to breach these two walls, Web 2 and Web 3, and bring more, I think, everybody who's curious about crypto, but having a lot of challenges to enter. So that's kind of our, it's a long story how we got into crypto and blockchain, but I think it was by accident at first, and then Ala fell in love right away.
It was through curiosity. It was, the famous meeting that put us together with the three co-founders, and we had this idea to do an e-commerce, but we wanted to incorporate blockchain technology because of Gary's interest. He's the guy who's been talking about, selling real estate and metaverse for the past 6 years, and people were like, are you crazy? Like, what are you talking about? But he was always very visionary. So when he introduced blockchain, in 2019, and he said, I would love to incorporate into this e-commerce, blockchain technology. And I said, I have no idea what you're talking about, but being a curious person and sort of always forward thinking and love, always sort of looking at what's next on the technology front. And so my background comes from fashion. I was a buyer for many years. I started in New York. Ever since I was a little girl, I always said I'm going to be, a buyer in New York City, and I made that happen at 20 years old. I moved to Brooklyn, and then I started working for a Versace showroom, and I started working after that for it was like one of the top destination spots in Soho. So was always was surrounded by clothes, loved fashion, was working with products, was working with designers and figuring out how to actually bring the products into real world. And then got a part of first sort of e-commerce platform and like social e-commerce platform back in 2008. And then, so was really always involved with products. And I saw the discrepancies that we had in terms of supply chain. Like there was, the information that was coming from the designers or from the manufacturers, by the time it trickled down to the consumers, we know very little about the products that we buy. So with the whole sort of push about being organic and being green, we believe that blockchain technology can solve the issue of being transparent with what's actually happening with the company. So when Marina was saying we built the company back then, it was blocks on blocks. We really wanted to use it as a way to communicate what's happening within the company. So now you can take your ingredient testing result and put it on the chain. You can take if you're saying you're a woman-owned company, there's proof of that. If you're saying you are, manufacturing United States, there's proof of that. So essentially, we wanted to put all these documents on the blockchain, and for the consumer to have a very sort of accessible experience where you scan a QR code and you see a verified supply chain, right? So you can trust where your products are coming from. What we realized working through the product and building out the MVP for it is that we were too early. We were 5-6 years too early. As much as brands wanted to be, they said they were transparent. When it came down to actually verifying documents, they were not there. And then you had to go through the hurdle of explaining what blockchain is, right? And so we're talking about 2 years, 2 years ago, right? So it was still, it's a lot of unknowns. So as we were picking out sort of what blockchain to use, we decided to go with, at the time it was called Blockstack, which is now Stacks. So Stacks is layer 1 on Bitcoin. So essentially we use layer focuses on new generation of NFTs built on Bitcoin. So the market is growing. It's an amazing community. It's using all the sort of the Stacks essentially transactions settled on Bitcoin. So meaning that all of your NFTs are secured in the most battle-tested chain in the world. And another thing that we loved about Stacks is the ability, we consider this a more sustainable chain because it does not use any new energy. It basically reuses energy already mined for Bitcoin mining. Again, low gas fees was super important to us because what we kept seeing over and over again from talking to creatives and companies that, minting a collection of 10,000, it can run you anywhere from, 1,000 to 5,000 just for minting, right? And so, and that goes from the other side as well. If you now want to become a collector, besides the cost of the price, you now have to, pay the gas fees on top. So we are making the barrier to entry non-existent and accessible to everyone. So we also, because of Stacks, we're able to, because of the unique relationship between Stacks and Bitcoin, we are able to yield Bitcoin through NFT stacking. So it's a really cool feature that we're going to be exploring and launching in the next few months. So keep keep updated, I guess, follow us on the Hey Layer, and you're going to see all the new updates and the ability for you to start yielding Bitcoin. Also, I guess the number one thing for us is the community that we have gained through this process. It's been just incredible. We graduated with the Stacks Accelerator, the first Stacks Accelerator a few months ago, right before launch. And they helped us with, positioning ourselves with the best mentors, positioning ourselves with the best sort of, everything from legal to marketing to PR. So the community has been really, really supportive, supportive of women, supportive of diverse communities. Yesterday, we had an amazing event called Her NFT in collaboration with the Sachs Foundation, where we brought together 35 NFT artists from all over the world. And part of every NFT sale is going to a foundation called Love Films, which aims to empower women in the film industry. And part of the fund will go towards supporting mothers during pregnancy and maternity time, when, a lot of times already in an industry where there's so many little women, during the time of them having their kids, there's even more.
Usually they can afford, yeah.
Yeah, so they're basically creating a fund.
Is it women in Colombia? I think it's
it's a lot of women that are in Colombia, and then we decided that 100% of the proceeds from this NFT campaign will actually go towards supporting Ukraine Foundation. So a lot of great things happening. We're super excited to be involved in speaking engagements like this, and just to spread the word that it doesn't have to be expensive to start experimenting. It doesn't have to be difficult.
And it's very easy experience. You don't have to understand blockchain. That's also. I'm gonna actually reach out to Maya, who was here before. I'm gonna send her our platform and couple of resources, like couple interesting boot camps for artists who can come and can be supported. Because what's interesting, Tam, we actually, when we opened the space, we do have a lot of people from Africa actually, and are mainly men. So we need to bring more women. So somehow men knew and they just start minting. And I think with women, we need to educate, and we need to, and I think with women, what Ala and I see, the moment they see there's a women co-founders or there's a women in team, some women feel better. So it's like they feel I don't know what was your experience, but I took Maya's email, so I'll share with her the info. But it is an incredible platform, and we want to see more women artists from all over the world. There's no gas fees, so it's just,
and then you have the easy credit card checkout, right? So essentially what we're allowing people to do is collectors that were not collectors before, because we understand how difficult it is. Okay, which wallet? Now I have to buy the currency, I have to transfer the currency into the wallet. So it's a complicated process, right? So our focus is to get as early majority into the space, right? We're not talking about the innovators that are like figuring out and trading, right? How do we get more women to become collectors and start building generational wealth, right? So the easiest thing right now is, okay, we know what a credit card is. So they'll swipe their credit card, they'll buy their first NFT. And now we kind of gently educate them through the process of setting up their wallet. So they get an email, right? So we're blending Web 2 tools with Web 3 tools. We kind of call ourselves Web 2.5, right? Because it's a hard jump for people to right away step into Web 3, right? So we kind of educate them through the process. So we say, okay, claim your NFT. There's an email. So they go to this claim NFT, and we walk them through the process of how to set up the wallet, because they essentially have to claim the NFT, right? And then now that they already are invested in, and now that they spent the $50 on this NFT, they're now more willing to learn. So essentially we have 100% conversion rate from anyone that's coming in just buying with a credit card to now transitioning into having a Hero wallet. And that's the first step, right? We are now incorporating, you can log in with your MetaMask wallet, and now through Layer, you're able to see not only your Stacks NFTs, but also your Ethereum NFTs. So essentially, it's a really pretty simple interface where you can see your entire NFTs across different chains. You're able to see, how they're doing, what other people are trading. So I think the blending of it is the key. You can't expect right away for people to go head deep into, Web3. So we're trying to make that process as simple as possible. And education is key, So every week we hold a free educational hour where we invite creatives. So it's NFTs 101. We have Eventbrite link that we could share with you. And essentially, we have Justin, who's our customer community service person. He's amazing. He just wears so many hats for the company and just super passionate about what he's doing. He's an artist himself. He's a comedian. He's an actor. And so he's there. Literally the other day, he was on with 5 people for 2.5 hours. It was supposed to be an hour event. So the whole point of this event is by the end of the hour, everyone mints their first NFT. So we all welcome you to join us. You can follow us at HeyLayer and find the links to all of these events.
Tam, I think we cannot hear you. I think you muted.
There we go. There we go. There we go. I was saying I was super excited. So you're saying that I can get the information at HeyLayer, like on the Eventbrite? Yeah, go ahead. We're going to throw that up there just for anybody that is interested, because I know I am. And I really love to hear, like, this is what this conference is really about, like us women connecting. And Marina said she's going to reach out to Maya. Like, that's excellent, because this is what this conference is about. It's about connecting the women in the space and bringing more women into the space as well. So I love to hear that. So why is it more than ever important to have women in the Web3 space? I know, like, you know, representation, they always say representation matters, right? So why is it important?
I think, you know, I'm going to say more of a, I think it's like more visionary philosophical aspect of it, is that it feels like we're creating a new world again. I think it's Web3, it's a new world. It's like, it's a new space. And I think historically, everything that was built, it was built without women involved. Or it was, if women were involved, they were like only 10, 15%. So I'm just even curious how the world can look if we're building something new, we're creating this new universe, Web3, where we can have 50-50, like men and women come together, bring their talents, and like what kind of world we can create. And I think it's important, I think, just for balance of energies is to have opposites. And I'm not saying that, oh, this is like some male have more female energies and vice versa. You know, it's just like, I don't want to put any specific gender, right?
Yeah.
I do think it's kind of how incredible it will be to create something from place of diversity. So I just think, and women have so much to offer. And I also think we never really had an opportunity before where we can come into the space and show fully our talents and our strengths. And we still fight.
Absolutely.
Because as Alice
yes.
said, there's a women in like all over the world, not just in Colombia. We don't have to take even Colombia, where the woman, after having a baby, if they don't have supportive country, family, or like partner, and if they didn't have money before, they pretty much, their career is gone, right? So it means they're contributing as mothers, but I'm not the mother, but Allah can probably say there's so much more to person. You know, you're a mother, it's one role, but you also have so many talents and things you want to offer to the world. And I think it's like, it's kind of, for so many women, it stops with motherhood. And I think right now we are evolving, you know, there's a different programs we're trying to support. There's an importance of that. So I do think it's a time right now that women have more opportunities to come and show their talents and contribute. And we have a lot to contribute.
Absolutely. I agree. I think this space, it really does provide a way for us to connect with our community and really start to, like you said, like really pave the way and create it the way that we've been wanting to see it, like, you know, creating so that it starts from, like, you know, equality at the jump, like, you know, not waiting and be like, oh, can we get in, like, you know, but we don't have to ask for permission in this space. We can just create it, and then we can be the CEOs, we can be the founders, and we can bring other women along with us and not have to ask for that permission. It's a beautiful idea, and I love it. So what can we do to bring more women into the Web3 space, do you guys believe?
Ala, do you want to take this, or we can do it both?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's really important to, you know, do events like this where we present ourselves and we show that there are women founders that are actually building products in Web3, right? And we make a point to hire women, in our workforce to make sure that the talent is equally balanced, right? Because when we just started looking for people to work in our field, again, we were seeing it's mostly the male engineers, right? It's mostly like the males that were stepping up and sort of expressing interest in coming into this space. So we really had to make an effort to recruit more women into the ecosystem. And then when we were launching Hey Layer in December, we also, as founders, had to decide what is the project that we're going to be launching out as, right? As like, this is our pillar project, this is our focus. And so we launched with a campaign called Satoshi, which aimed to, challenge the notion, what if Satoshi Nakamoto was actually a woman? So all 20 artists, global artists, had their own presentations of what this person would have looked like if it was a woman, and maybe it was. We don't know.
Wow. Yeah, we don't know. Wow, that's crazy. It's so funny. Like, we don't know, and people say, I always hear like, oh, we don't know if Satoshi Nakamoto was a he, she, or they, and then every time after that they refer to it as a he. I mean, that's so hilarious. But absolutely, like, we don't know.
We don't know. And the funny thing, I read somewhere, which I was like cracking up before this campaign, is that I read someone, they're like, do you really think if this was a man that he would have stepped away from the opportunity to like take claim on this thing, right?
That is very funny.
Anyways, from that point on, we kind of positioned ourselves that we had all these women from all these different countries and with all these different projects coming to us and asking for our support. Where from day one, like Marina said, we'd had men just minting. Like, no one asked permission. No one wanted to brainstorm about how to launch, and women are just more thoughtful, right? And they're like, okay, how do we do this properly? Who do I collaborate with? What does my marketing look like, right? So we became not just like a marketplace. We really became sort of like a one-step solution for providing, guidance, education. How do we properly position your NFT campaign? How can we support you? How can we partner up with other, artists to help you collaborate on this campaign? What metaverse can we launch your campaign in? So we partner up with women-owned metaverse called V-Space out of Brooklyn. So we've had 2 events launched with her. So we keep supporting other women in who we work with, who we hire, and then essentially who we bring on board as clients. So
and you said that was called V-Space?
V-Space, yes.
V-Space, all right. Yeah, I want to make sure I write that down.
So Marina
all women, like,
down in the
metaverse.
Link, her NFT, that heylayer.com. That will take you to a landing page. We just launched an event yesterday. We had a launch event, but you're going to have an opportunity to have a solo experience in V-Space and actually preview all the NFTs in Metaverse. And you can walk around and you can actually preview the art and hang out in a virtual pool. And, it's a really cool experience. I highly recommend
nice.
Check it out.
Nice. So is that the NFT campaign for the International Women's Day? Can you tell us more about that? Is that the one you're referring to? So tell us more.
Yeah, Marina, do you want to? I'll give you the space.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of like after Satoshi's success, and it's like just kind of also the Stacks community. So like, there's a lot of great men who wants to support, and I think that's one of the things. I think men do want to support, they don't know how. It's almost like in relationship, like, there's a great man, they don't know what to do, they want to support but don't know how, right? So you kind of have to show the way. And I think with the Satoshi being such a big success and bringing very diversity of artists, we actually, for Women's International Day, Stacks foundations, they reached out to us and said, do you want to do another like event for Women's International Day to celebrate women from all over the world and like celebrating women leaders in Stacks community? And so it was really non-brainer because we already actually had a lot of artists. Like we're constantly building relationships, and I think women reaching out to us. So when Stacks reached out to us and said, do you want to to put together event you guys produce? We will co-sponsor. It's going to be done on Hey Layer Marketplace. So it just kind of came together in 3 weeks. So we reached out to some of the Satoshis. Then Ala had connection with the amazing women from Love Film community. And so I think Josephine, she's located in Spain. And the interesting thing, Josephine find out about us from one of the women, Satoshi women, and I find out Floor on Discord. So it's like women just connecting and helping each other. So we came together, got artists together. So we have like, I think it's 36. It's 36, not 35. They're constantly trying to get more. We represent, so it's presenting women artists from all over the world to celebrate and to inspire other women to get into NFTs. And so this event, we went live yesterday. It was a live event in Metaverse. It's still available there, so you can go and walk around. And when you click on the image, it takes you to the artist NFT. And so it's Hey Leia takes only 10%. The rest, it goes to the artist. I think there are different artists donating to different courses. I think the main 2.5 goes to Just Films, right, Foundation, and the rest goes to the artist. So it's like also supporting artists, promoting artists, supporting another nonprofit. We're supporting Hey Layer, donate 100% of our sales to supporting Ukraine, to different nonprofits. So yeah, it's pretty much going to be a month of celebrating women, and that's going to be live for the rest of March and available for you. And I think we already had a couple of sales, so that's amazing. So yeah, I think am I missing anything else about? Yes. Yeah, it's just epic. It just like,
Definitely, I'm going there. Like as soon as the conference is over, after we hang out in Discord, like this is where y'all gonna find me at. So this is where I'm gonna go check out and see what it's like. It sounds phenomenal. I'm excited.
Yeah, Alice
Thank you, ladies.
Did research on metaverses. She said V-Space so far one of the best.
Well, and also her thing is about, accessibility, right? So you don't need VR glasses. You don't need, expensive, things to actually access metaverse, right? You can actually access it with just a desktop computer, a Chrome extension is better. Just from feedback that we had yesterday, access it through Chrome. It seems to be more responsive. So you just need a desktop computer. You don't need anything expensive. So she's making it accessible to anyone to access the space, which I love as well. So, and again, we're all about supporting other women founders. And so it was just the right partnership for us. So yeah, please check it out. I think it's going to be a really cool experience for everyone.
Absolutely. Excellent. So we have a question here on the screen that says, what are your most memorable moments as women leaders in the Web3 space?
Wow, love that question. I can take it. For me, you know what? It was, I think I shared it with Marina and Gary when I came back from, I was in Miami at the Decentraland, or it was the NFT Basel. So it was a huge event, amazing venue. And, it was like a whole day of speakers. And through the day, I remember as I was coming out, and they had this whole presentation of, there was someone from Rarible there making a presentation. So they had a whole amazing panel. And as I was coming out from hearing this panel and walking up the stairs, I had this woman, the security woman that was standing there, like listening to this panel. And she just grabbed my arm and she's like, where do I buy these NFTs, right? And it was so amazing because, here she was like listening to this panel, and everyone are thought leaders in the space, but she didn't feel intimidated. She came up to me and she asked me, how do I go about, purchasing an NFT? Because she obviously saw that this was sort of the vision, like this was the future, but she still was like unclear, and she was so unsure about who to come to. And from, she felt comfortable asking me, right? And I kept bumping into several because of the whole sort of, the whole week was all about Web3 and NFT. And so it was such a great like experience of people actually reaching out to me and not feeling intimidated. I did a panel talk at the end of the event, Diverse Future of NFTs. And I had these older women that were like in their 70s come up to me and they're like, we're holding so much Bitcoin. How can we start interacting? So I knew that at that point we were on the right path, because if we are making it, you know, like it doesn't have to be complicated. And then they see another woman that I don't come from a tech background, but all you have to have is curiosity and a little bit of, just fuck it, let's just try it out kind of attitude, right?
Right. Absolutely.
You can accomplish anything. So, we hope to inspire more women, and because I can't imagine a new world without women being in there, right? And at least being like half represented. So that's really, for me, those were really memorable moments that I have the reach of connecting to, like, normal people to start exploring. So for me, that was inspirational.
All right, what about you, Marina? Any memorable moments?
Well, I think I had the moment of, so I was at New York conference NFT, more of like just as an attendee. And so on Tuesday I came to like a very, very fancy event, and it was very, very dark. And it was a lot of men. It was all good people, but very dark, a lot of men. Nobody really talked to each other. And then on Thursday, I went to another event where it was a women. It was bright. It was a beautiful space. It was a beautiful energy. People were talking. And I think I just kind of, I said, we need to be here to bring like light, literally, even just to create,
Yeah.
new. And I think even for men would probably enjoy more of that event where it was done differently. It's again going back, that's why we need women, because it can be the same event for men and it just will have a different energy and in different way of connecting to each other and showing in the ways that it can be done differently, right? So that was like, and I think it's not easy, I think, for us without to be in a space. We feel very supported, but I think we came into the space more as a co-founders, but more we are here, the more we feel responsibility, how essential for us to be here, show up, and just share a very honest, transparent story. Like, we don't know anything 100%. We doubt a lot. We feel fear. We feel tired. We doubt ourselves. But then there's another day, and you wake up and you believe in yourself. You ask for help, and you show up and you build things. And I think that's kind of, and I think it's for us kind of became, we not only we have to build what we build and do what we do, but we have to tell to everyone, because I think for women it's important to hear the story. So yeah,
I think that's very important. Like, you're very right. I also I love the fact that the running theme for basically everybody that I've ever met in this space, and especially all the women included, is like, we're not from here. Like, we're not from here. We came in, we looked around, we saw a need, you know what I'm saying? We educated ourselves, and now we're also trying to do the same for other people while we're building, and we're like, taking all those reins. Like, we're taking this on, and you can do it too, because you don't have to be from here in order to be successful here. And I think that's a beautiful running theme, along with the idea that, women, we bring new flavor. We light up rooms when we walk in. This is it's who we are. I was saying the other day that, when it comes to learning from something from a man, you can learn it from a man. Like, he's going to teach you with his own type of thing or whatever, right? His flavor. But it's also, it's different when it comes from like a woman who has like, more of a nurturing approach, just naturally, in the education and the way she wants to educate. And so it comes off different. And it just brings up a different flavor. So, I just want to thank you, ladies, so much. Before we let you go, so outside of the, do you have any other upcoming projects outside of the NFT for the NFT event for Women's Month? What's next on the horizon?
Yeah, there's a lot of really great projects. There's a campaign called GM that's coming out that was in partnership with an illustrator, award-winning illustrator. So if you follow us at Hey Layer, we're going to be posting like sneak peeks about it. You're going to be able to see when the campaign is going to be dropping. There's going to be a huge airdrop that's going to be coming for anyone that's in our Discord community. So that's a huge campaign that's about spreading positivity. And every day there's a new sort of GM NFT that's going to be popping out there. There's also going to be sort of a collaborative project with Crash Punks with this GM campaign. I'm also looking into doing a big event during her NFT week in New York. So for anyone that's going to be there, again, follow us. There's going to be some updates there. So it's going to be in real life event in collaboration with a metaverse event, and the whole focus there is to bring fashion into blockchain and into Stacks ecosystem, and to highlight more women and diverse communities and bring them into our space and educate them on how to start and grow their NFT businesses with Layer. So follow us. There's going to be projects popping up. I feel like now we're just in this trajectory where there's every few weeks we have a new project that's coming out. So, and we're here to support everyone. And like I said, follow us, and you're going to be able to, if you are a collector, if you are creative, there's courses every week you can come in and you can learn something new.
Excellent. I love to hear that, ladies. And I just want to thank you guys. Make sure for all of y'all who are tuning in, if you want to connect with Marina and Ala, you can connect with her on our them on our Discord. We're also going to have all the links to Hey Layer and everything that they discuss in the Discord as well. So make sure that you are linking with us on Discord. They'll be there to answer some questions that you might have. And you can also get links to their Discord that way. So I know I'm going to be hitting you up. I will be in Discord. So, look for me. You're going to see me because I'm so interested in learning how to NFT. Like, I'm not an artist, but I have a lot of friends who are artists who, you kind of touched on earlier, who aren't really able to spend the time or the money to really understand. So I figured, if I can get it, if I can understand how to do it, then I can do the same thing what you guys are doing, which is educating other women and continuing to grow this space. So thank you guys for everything that you do. Make sure again that you're connecting on our Discord. We're going to go to a quick intermission. Also, quick shout out again to our sponsors. Thank you for being here and supporting the International Women in Blockchain event. You guys stay tuned and we'll be right back. Hey, Yinka. Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. I don't know if y'all do what I do during the intermission, but I'm definitely just here dancing because I love that song. I'm putting that on my playlist.
Me too. Me too. I'm shaking my shoulders.
Right.
That dancing is like the best de-stressor out there. So I'm dancing even more. Y'all know I love to dance. Well, y'all don't know I love to dance. Now y'all know I love to dance. Yes.
Absolutely, me too.
Perfect music to dance to too. So we're gonna have you and I a little discussion here. See if maybe Mahasin and Rebecca can join us. Ladies, please come to the stage. Let's have a thorough discussion about how this whole blockchain ecosystem is impacting Africa, impacting the entire African diaspora. Actually, Mahasin, thank you very much for joining.
Welcome, Mahasin. Go ahead and unmute for us.
I'm really crossing my fingers here.
Same, because I know she has some really great information to get out here. These technical difficulties, listen, guys, it just happens, like I know I've been kind of choppy this whole time, internet is what it is, but as we were saying, before, one day I believe that this whole entire blockchain, all the technology is going to make it so where, we're streamless. We're streaming and it's seamless everywhere we go. So I'm super excited about it. But for now, we got to deal with a little bit of difficulties. So Masin, if you can unmute for us. Yeah. Still having a little technical difficulties there, but it's super cool though, that we're able to do this and even attempt it with people that aren't in the same vicinity as you. This is all a whole different continent than where I'm at. So it's super cool. Oh, there you are. Masin, are you there?
Yeah. Mahasin, are you there? Yeah, it's like different time zone, different, connectivity. Even in the US, throughout this whole event, we've had situations where even in the US, people couldn't hear us. So it's not just,
Yeah, it's not just her. It's the technology.
There's something going on with technology because I've had some weird stuff that's been happening lately, and I'm just I'm hoping that it's not something that's we're being, I guess, slowly introduced to, but hopefully it'll become bigger than that. Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Tam. Hi, Oli.
Yes.
All right.
Awesome. It's good to have you, Rebecca. Thank you very much for joining us. Please introduce yourself. Tam, I'm over here taking over.
No, listen, you got it. Go ahead. This is the community. Go ahead, Rebecca. Introduce yourself for us.
Hi, ladies. My name is Rebecca Ase. I am a board member of BWBC.
I think we just got rugged.
Oh, man.
You started off great, but then we lost you. Are you still there? It kind of reminds me of Clubhouse days.
Yeah.
All right. Oh man. Yeah, so technical difficulties. This is what happens when you have a live streaming event. This is the thing that tends to happen when you have this opportunity where you get to tap into women across the globe. And even with the difficulties with internet and connecting, these ladies are still making an effort to participate in this space, however way they can. As we've been talking, Africa has, stepped up when it comes to the whole blockchain space, even with the lack of widespread internet connectivity. A lot of people have been able to, still participate, still be able to mint their NFTs, still be able to transact with cryptocurrencies. And I think that's, commendable on their part, with restrictions, banning, all these other stuff that's happening in Africa. and the different countries there. You know, the willpower and the determination of the people have definitely shown what this space can truly bring forth, right? When you're working against the odds just to participate, right? Whether it's banning, whether it's, you know, the lack of internet connectivity, as many of you may or may not know, internet is not widespread in Africa. Electricity.
Yeah, and actually in a lot of places, like people think that, I think, you know, you're being in America and you think it's how it is everywhere. It's not like that everywhere. So the fact that somebody would, like you said, one is still determined to be a part of this space and understand its value, right? They're so determined to still participate. It speaks volumes to just everything that they would honestly probably bring to the space. Like that type of determination, like I just I want to see what happens, like, you know, with that type of drive. Absolutely.
Exactly. You know, and you know, internet as well as electricity is not something that runs 24/7, 7 days of the week, right? There at any given time, electricity can go out, right? And so the luxuries that we're affording here, most African countries can't afford those luxuries. But even with that, they're still trying to compete in the 21st century, right? They're still trying to compete in this ecosystem that we're building. And like you said, it's you know, it's commendable that they're stepping up and participating, and oftentimes is with their cell phone. I think it was Tesla yesterday, you know, the NFT artist who presented her wonderful NFT ladies, that she was talking about how she did all of that on her phone. A lot of artists are doing their artwork on their phone when they're in Africa, right? Because that's the only way that they can be able to produce these artwork as well as mint them, since they don't have internet services consistently. They have to rely on their bandwidth, right? From their phone. So,
Yes.
you know, these are the things that they're navigating through and trying to move forward. So when we say, you know, the impact of NFT or even this whole ecosystem on Africa, it's significant. It's more significant than people realize, you know.
Right, and just the simple fact that it's as significant as it is there, like it's going to impact you where you are. You know, like people think like to. I know that some people like to think that, oh, it's over there, and wherever your location is, it's not where you're at. It's not going to affect you. Like this isn't that. This isn't that for this space. Like everything I feel like that is going, and everything I'm learning, everything that's happening in the blockchain technology, from NFTs to cryptocurrencies to, like, you know, people using energy in new different ways, like all the things that are touching this blockchain technology, you will be affected by it. Believe, mark my words. You can say Tam Fitz told you during the IWB event in March of 2022 that your life was going to be impacted based on this blockchain technology. Like, you can hide from it all you want to, you can try to ignore it, but I guarantee you something in your life, a lot of things in your life are going to change, and it's time to embrace it.
Yeah. So let's try if Mahasin is there. Mahasin, we can see you, but unfortunately we can't hear you. We know that you're unmuted. So maybe try to test out your mic one more time. Man, you don't understand how much I want this to work.
We want it so bad.
Unfortunately, technology does not work when you want it to work all the time. You know, it's unfortunate. We can try to bring Rebecca up again. I saw that, you know, she's back on. So Rebecca, let's have you jump back in. Awesome. Rebecca, welcome to the stage.
Hi, ladies.
Loud and clear. We hear you. Perfect.
I don't know if I should apologize for technology, but
Never.
So, yeah, I was introducing myself. Yes, my name is Rebecca Ase. I am a board member of BWBC, and I am also a crypto journalist. So I'm based in Africa and Nigeria, to be specific. since we have 54 countries in Africa. So it's a very huge place. And, I teach crypto and I write about cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, the metaverse, NFT, anything that has to do with cryptocurrency. You can find me there.
Excellent. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for joining us. So I was going to say, if you were unable to connect with Mahasin here, she will be in the Discord. Make sure you guys are linking with us in our Discord, where you can talk to every speaker, the moderators, myself, Yinka, everyone is there. We're participating. And you can ask questions, you can make connections, get help with your projects, whatever. We're here as a community to help bring more women into this space and also to help move women forward in this space. So thank you again, Rebecca. So we'll go ahead and get into a question that I have for you, Rebecca. Since you touched so many spaces, like this is probably, a good one for you. If you had the attention of every person of African ancestry on the planet, like right now, what is one thing that you would like for them to know about NFTs? Or about this space in general?
I would like to let them know that NFT goes beyond just JPEGs. NFTs are not just JPEGs on steroids. They are way beyond that. NFTs can help us tokenize lands in Africa, which would reduce most of the land strife that we have. NFTs can, help us with identity issues. So they are just beyond, collecting pictures or uploading your pictures or just being an artist on the on a decentralized ecosystem. It's way beyond that. NFTs really have future implication, and we can pardon the use of JPEGs right now because it's helping us get a utility, and so we have to look at the bigger picture. So if I can get across to everyone of African ancestry, I'll tell them to look at the bigger picture. There is a bigger picture beyond, just having JPEGs, and that is what I want them to see.
That's a wonderful that's a wonderful point. I cannot tell you how every day, be it through this conference or connecting with the women outside this conference or other people in this space, that my mind just keeps getting blown as to how this picture is so much bigger, right? Like so much bigger than what people think it is, and how there's still space to grow. Like that's the crazy part. Like guys, it's still space to grow and to get in here and to figure out where your space is going to be, and help to bring that forward. Absolutely. So thank you for that, Rebecca.
Yeah, you know what? Rebecca mentioned something that's very significant, the whole ID or identity aspect. In Africa, unlike the US, a lot of the times you don't have like a passport, you don't have a driver's license, you don't have the typical government issue IDs. And I know at one point Nigeria was trying to resolve that issue, but even with that, there's still there's issues embedded in the implementation process. And so having the blockchain and utilizing the blockchain to help solve that issue, I think it's significant, right? Another thing that she mentioned is land ownership. And we could talk about that for days, when it comes to so, and the US did go through this experience as well, too, like right after, I think it was Reconstruction or when the slaves were quote unquote set free, right? It was more so, okay, well, D's land is out here, and because their family members, their lineage have been working these land for such a long time, right? Can they own certain percentage? And then, there have been towns where people have like literally cleared out that town so that they can take over the land and take it away from the people that originally, owned it. So that issue is a global issue, right? And in Africa, it's kind of like a free fall. Even if your family member have owned this land for generations upon generations, if there's no one to stake a claim consistently in that area, someone will take it over and claim that it's theirs. So we have that big issue. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah, I was just affirming what you're saying. So the thing about lands is that as generation goes by, it tends to get lost in transit. So lands are supposed to be inherited. So usually it's passed down to the firstborn, according to tradition. But we all know that tradition is man-made, so tradition gets to adjust to, the coming up of man. So if this land is put on the blockchain, if someone has and says, "Oh, this land, who owns this land?" They can track the land down to which is why I find the metaverse so fascinating, because since the metaverse also NFTs can interface with the metaverse. So
Did we lose her?
Oh, I think we might have.
Oh,
No, Rebecca, come back because I wanted to hear more of that. It made me like really think about like just like while she's working on it made me think about like the passing of land, right? And here in the US, essentially, and this goes for like anybody that if you own land, your family owns land, right? If it's not done, I guess, according to the way that they say they should, like it automatically just goes back to the government. And that's kind of messed up. Like when you and your family has been on this land for generations, your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents put their hard earned money into this, and then simply because I mean, I know probate is like a disaster. Like, right, maybe your grandparents didn't will it to somebody, and if they do will it to somebody, it doesn't automatically go to them, right? So think about having like I guess an NFT that says that like my grandparents own this land, and then they pass the NFT to me, and now I am in possession of this land and I can prove it through this technology. Like that is amazing. Like no more, I can see a utopian world where like there's no more stealing of people's land and how they create, their generational wealth off of that land. Like that sounds like an amazing possibility. And honestly, I had heard about like, people using buying land in the metaverse, right? And then it somehow translating to IRL in real life, but I wasn't really sure how that was working, but that made it make so much sense. Oh, Rebecca, I hope you're able to join us again, because I do definitely want to go into some more of that, hear more about that.
Yeah, it's definitely a topic to dive in deeper. Later on in this event, we will have real estate, a company, Proppy, who's involved in the whole blockchain, trying to implement blockchain into real estate. And that's going to be a thorough, deep conversation to have, right? Natasha, yeah, I believe I'm pronouncing that wrong, and I apologize, but she will be joining us. The creator of Proppy will be joining us to talk about that and how they're creating this pathway to implement blockchain or combine the two, right? Blockchain into real estate and how that's working out. But yeah, definitely, real estate is huge. Real estate is valuable to a lot of people. And it's fantastic to be able to use the technology and bridge the two and find out how those two can work in conjunction with each other. I do know that there are people who are using real estate for construction, right? That supply chain aspect of it is very important for constructions. They need to be able to identify sources of where materials are coming from, and be able to track it and trace it and all that stuff. And so the supply chain aspect is very important. And so this technology is definitely it could definitely be applied to all kinds of industries, right? And
right.
Improve different type of industries. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about that and tapping into a lot more how and what can be built with this technology. So I believe Mahasin is trying to join us again. Hopefully this time around her mic is working and she can join us. Both Mahasin and Rebecca are in Nigeria. So, there's always going to be that issue. And I think today is just not the best day for technology over there. So hopefully let's try again. Mahasin, are you there? Unfortunately, we cannot hear you once again. Darn. All right. Yeah.
Darn.
Let's go ahead and take a break. We will take a 5-minute break and then come back.
We'll be back.
Hello. All right. Hopefully, you guys were dancing because I was shaking my shoulders. All right. But seriously, I am excited to have another presenter join us Lacey, if you are ready, I want you to come up, introduce yourself, let the audience members know you and what you're building for this whole Web3 space that we have. She's getting her presentation ready, so get ready to be blown away by what she's about to present. But in the meantime, while you're doing that, Lacey, let us know when you're ready to jump on, and we will go ahead and okay, perfect. All right, she's ready to jump on. Come on up, Lacey.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Lacey. I'm the co-founder of Meta Intro. Meta Intro is a professional resume wallet for Web3. It's a multi-chain custodial wallet that holds proof of work, proof of skills, all the things that traditionally take time in the hiring process to verify, but instead lives on chain in a wallet.
Awesome, awesome. And Lacey, you know, what brought you to this space actually?
My background is in hiring. Over the course of my career, I've hired most literally thousands of individuals in the media and entertainment space. And my first startup was a Web2 labor marketplace for hiring in the media and entertainment space. Took it from idea to creation, raising venture, to post-traction, to eventually sold. So when I was noodling on my next startup, I knew exactly what I wanted to build, which was in the Web3 space.
Nice, nice. You know, resume in the Web3 space is very much important, right? Because a lot of people want to tap in, but they don't know how to navigate through this space.
Yep.
Is there one advice that you would give someone who's really interested but looking?
Yep, I see that all the time. Biggest piece of advice, your Web2 skills are most likely applicable in the Web3 space, except if you're a dev. So the presentation that I'm giving today is about how to make your Web2 skills transferable into Web3 when you're starting out from zero, completely new to the space, and are looking for a no-code position.
Awesome, awesome. So I hope everyone here heard that. Get your pen and paper ready, because I know there's a lot of people that are looking for jobs in a Web3, or at least looking to prepare themselves for these jobs that are coming out. So get your pen and paper ready, because you're about to start writing things down. I'm going to leave and let you take it away, Lacey, and go ahead and share your presentation with Nicole in the backstage.
Oh, I could. She told me to share screen. Can you see that? Oh, you can't see that. All right. Cool. Sorry, guys. You're going to look at my screen for just a minute. And see my messy background. Great. All right. I'm going to present it like this. All right, awesome. So hi, everyone. Again, my name is Lacey. I run Meta Intro. Meta Intro also has a massive, massive Discord. So if you're looking to make the jump from Web 2 into Web 3, or you're already in Web 3 and you're looking for your next contribution opportunity, we have one of the biggest Web 3 jobs Discord on the market right now. There's jobs posted every day, from no code to internships to code and hackathons. Literally every project opportunity is there. Super easy. You just hop in, introduce yourself, and you just start applying. But before you can start applying, you're probably thinking, Lacey, I'm just getting started in the Web3 space, and I don't have a resume built. I don't know how to hop in. So that's why today I wanted to do a presentation on how to jump from Web 2 to Web 3 if you're looking for a no-code opportunity. If that's a little bit too technical, no code is anything that's doesn't require code. So sales jobs, biz dev, writing, social media, community mod, finance, accounting, all of those great roles are considered no code roles. All right, so we're going to start from literally step 0, which is your resume. most likely you have a Web2 resume, a resume that has your information, your education, your skills, maybe like a picture of your LinkedIn headshot. So before you completely throw that out and say that's not a Web3 resume, take a step back. So oftentimes, if you're looking at a JD or a job description in the Web3 space, you'll notice that a majority of the bullet points in that job description are the same exact bullet points that would be in a Web2 job description. Most likely, the major difference is that you're working for a Web3 company that is building on chain. So the difference, not so much, the context is different. So if you're looking to start your resume from scratch, there are a few things that I would suggest to make that happen. So first, oftentimes your skills are still applicable. Like I just said, work experience still applicable, but and your education still applicable. The major difference is your curiosity. So a big tip that I can give is, let's say you want to take your Web2 resume and start applying to Web3 jobs. On the top where you usually have that, self-description, 3-sentence, 2-sentence liner about yourself, that's your moment to shine. That's where you should be putting, I'm a Web3 curious, no code, individual that has a passion for NFTs or is curious about crypto, or hangs out in Discord all day, and I would love to contribute to your project. So if you take those 2-3 sentences that are generally on the top of your resume and turn it into a Web3 like call to action, if you will, that will be an incredible first step to Web3ifying your resume. I know this sounds super simple, but a lot of the times in this space, hiring managers, 90% of the time, and don't come for me if you're a hiring manager and disagree, but just based on what I've seen in the space, 90% of the time, they will hire a Web3 newbie, as long as that individual is passionate and curious about the project and is willing to learn and make the transition into Web3 full-time. There's not a true Web3 resume out there until Meta Intro is in the market. So when you're looking at making that resume, there are other things that you can do to Web3ify it aside from just those 2-3 descriptions. Adding in your avatar, your Ready Player Me avatar, your Memoji as your headshot, totally fine. Adding your Twitter, totally fine. And maybe instead in your skills section, you put other things that are Web3-esque, like, do you know how to use Discord? Are you Twitter proficient? What are some other Web3 tools? Have you gone through Learn Web3 or Build Space? What are some things that you've done that you can put on your skills that shows that you're actively learning? So next step, after you have like the first iteration of your resume, I encourage you to start finding experience. Don't harp on your resume. Oftentimes, it'll unlock the door, but you're going to be the one in the interview that is going to land the job. So finding experience. But Lacey, how do you find experience if you're new to the space and you have zero experience? Well, there's a few ways. First, learn to earn opportunities. There are a ton of incredible learn to earn opportunities in this space, which means, let's say you go to a site like Rabbit Hole. Rabbit Hole is a massive learn to earn company in the space. They'll put up tutorials on, let's say, for instance, they have one on OpenSea, minting your first NFT. If you go through that tutorial on Rabbit Hole, you'll earn Rabbit Hole's crypto for completion. Other companies that have learn to earn opportunities are like Coinbase, CoinMarketCap. I'm trying to think who else. Sorry. I have dogs, and they're very excited about learning opportunities. course. Okay, so moving on from learn to earn opportunities, diving in, being hands-on is super important in the space. Diving in the Web3 space could look like hopping into a Discord's DAO, joining a hackathon. In this space, there's also no-code hackathons, like Codeless Conduct happened last week. They put on no-code hackathons once every few months. Going after bounties, companies like Cleoverse and Layer 3 are great for completing bounties. So if you don't know what a bounty is essentially a company will put up an open call for a completion of a project. So let's say here's a good example. Let's say I put up an open call saying I need an essay written on why NFTs will impact the future of work. And if you complete it and I pick your project to use with my product, you'll earn 1 Bitcoin. That would be massive. Bounties aren't generally that big, but you get the point. So they're kind of like contests in a way. Sites that have bounties, which are super, super good exercises, I definitely recommend, are like Layer 3 and Cleoverse. Those are 2 great sites. And lastly, collabs. You want to be careful with collabs because you don't want to get burned. There's a lot of scam in the space, and sometimes collabs can lead to scams, but there are a ton of great ones. And we have collabs in our Discord channel, so you can check it out. Collabs are often with individuals who have ideas and need to put together a small team to get to market and start generating revenue. Collabs are a great place for people who are just wanting to start and want hands-on experience building a project from scratch. Lastly, industry. You can find experience find knowledge. If anything, you want to continuously be learning in this space through crypto Twitter, podcasts, and Discord. And so finding crypto Twitter, everyone has their own take on it, but finding leaders in the space and thought leaders in the space and following them, and eventually you'll see that your Twitter feed turns into a Web3 centric Twitter. Podcasts, I have a ton of great podcasts that I listen to. CoinMarketCap has a great one. I'm trying to think who else. I have a list of other great podcasts in our Discord if you want to come check it out. And Discord. There's sites like Diaspora, which allows you to surf all of the different types of Discord communities that are out there. Discord itself also has a Discover tool. If you go into Discord, you'll see at the very bottom, there's like a little navigation icon. If you click on that, it'll bring you to all of the searchable Discord channels that are over, I think, 2,500 members, or maybe it's 1,000 members. So they're all like established, quote unquote, communities that you can check out. All right, and lastly, now that we've gone from I have a kind of Web3 resume to now I'm starting to build experience in the space, where do you find the jobs? So jobs in the Web3 space are almost always on Twitter, Discord, or legacy Web2 job boards. So legacy Web2 job boards are like a LinkedIn or an Indeed. The best innovative projects, again, just my hot take on this, are almost always going to be on Twitter. You search them by going up to the search bar on Twitter and typing in Web3 job, or if you're an accountant, accounting Web3 job hiring, and see what pops up. If you hop into our Discord, again, you'll see jobs are posted every hour. We're one of the largest Discord communities dedicated just to Web3 jobs. And then lastly, legacy Web2 job boards. Those are the companies that are posting in the LinkedIns and the Indeeds of the world are most likely, and from what I've seen, Web2 companies that are hopping into the Web3 space. So they're oftentimes looking for more senior level positions, just because they need somebody to navigate the ship into the space, and they need someone who's a little bit more of an expert and senior in that Web3 or the blockchain or crypto, whatever that project is going after, because they need a point person to help them figure out how to transition from a Web2 company into a Web3. So if you're looking for more senior jobs, again, that's where you go to LinkedIn, or an AngelList is great, and find those jobs. So again, come hang out in my Discord. It's a lot of fun. You'll network and you'll find some great jobs to apply to. But hopefully this quick presentation was helpful in any way possible, gave you some tips and pointers as to how to find a no-code job.
Hi, Lacey. All right. So, Tam, hey, I'll let you start with the question and I'll jump in as well. But I think this is a really hot topic for us to jump into, because everyone wants a Web3 job, right?
Right.
And I love that you covered it, from those who are new to the space to those who are experienced, and where you can go looking for those type of jobs. So go ahead, Tam.
I'm definitely one of those people. I'm not ashamed to say I'm one of those people that I'm looking for a job in the Web3 space. So I come from, actually, I have a strong background in management. Like I've managed, in everywhere from warehouses to car rental places, and in that, a lot of times is the education portion, that comes with management. You have to teach people how to do their job. So what what companies, I guess, maybe that might be looking for something that would handle those type of skills, that seems to be something that's a little bit more hands-on, I feel like.
Yeah. You said the last company you worked at was a car company?
Yeah, I used to manage for a car company, yeah.
Yeah, well, funny enough, there are a ton of car companies that are moving into the Web3 space. Lamborghini is now just filed a patent to get into the Web3 space. And so I would almost bet you that if you go into some of those into their native career pages and look, you will see that there's something titled, either they're all getting creative with the titles, but something that's head of digital assets. Digital assets means NFT metaverse space, or head of metaverse, head of Web3. Who else did I just see? I feel like I just saw Toyota get into the space. I have to look, but there are a ton of car companies that are making the transition. So that might be a super interesting opportunity for you to leverage your experience working in the car space. But now, and then how I said with your resume, showing that you're passionate about the Web3 space and saying, hey, not only do I know a thing or two about cars, but I'm super passionate about this space and I'd make a great candidate for you. So that's a great way to...
Appreciate that so much, and I'm gonna definitely look for. Are there any more I guess kind of keywords that I might want to look for when I'm looking through postings to see, because you said digital head of digital assets, any other of those kind of keywords I want to type in, where I'm looking?
Yeah, digital assets, Web3, metaverse, NFT. You might see something that says crypto. Yeah, I think those are and blockchain. Those are the biggest ones. But digital assets is kind of that main one that means Web3, but people are trying. Oh, someone said, and DeFi. Yes, DeFi.
DeFi, gotcha.
Oh, that's
excellent.
Good.
I'm taking notes. I hope everybody out there is taking notes too. I'm serious.
I'm taking notes. I'm looking down, writing things down too.
Yeah.
So, the financial industry, since there may be people who are looking, who are part of the financial industry, can they see themselves moving towards the Web3? I guess the question is, are companies within the financial industry looking towards hiring within the Web3 realm?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say about 20% of the jobs that I see are DeFi companies, or like financial companies moving into the Web3 space. Also, I find like financial companies look very different in Web3. If we're talking about like, let's say for instance, venture looks very different in Web3. There's DAOs now like dedicated to being investment vehicles. There's NFT projects that are acting as catalysts to being a venture fund or an incubator or accelerator. So finance is looking very different, but everybody's trying to figure out how to utilize it and how to find somebody or hire somebody who knows how to utilize it to then help that company move into that space. So long-winded answer, yes, everyone's moving. If you're not moving, you're going to get left behind. But I'm a Web3 person, so I have to say that.
Right. Can I ask another question? Okay, so after I revamp my resume with some of the tips you gave, do you have any insight on maybe what I can expect, like the questions to kind of look, or like an interview process? Like, what is that going to look like?
Yeah, so great question. I actually just wrote a thread on questions you should be asking when you're being interviewed, and that you get to the end and they go, are there any questions that you ask us or you wanted to ask us? I just wrote a thread on that, and that's an important time to start to vet projects, especially if you're interviewing for like not an established company. You have, as somebody who is interviewing, it's very important that you're vetting, so you understand the legitimacy of the project, and B, where the founders are coming from. Questions even like, what's your background? How long have you been in the Web3 space? Are you planning to raise capital? If so, how? What does your growth model look like? What are some milestone check marks that I need to get to in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? Because setting those expectations going into a job will say a lot about that company and a lot about that role. On the flip side, it depends what, like when you're being interviewed, it depends what role you're going for. I think it's super important to know the basics, like what is blockchain? How does crypto work? Like knowing that and having that in the back of your pocket, and maybe even speaking to like your favorite projects in the space will just highlight a little bit of the knowledge you have. That's why in the presentation, I was like, hop into a Discord, Slack and Twitter, start to like fall in love with a few different projects so that when you're talking about it, you kind of know what you're talking about.
Absolutely, that is great advice, and I didn't even think about vetting the actual project. That's a brilliant idea, and especially when it comes to that question about how they're going to raise capital, because we know that there's rug pulls, there's all kind of stuff that's happening out here, and it's like say the Wild West or whatever, right? So we know that's an issue, and I don't want my name affiliated with any kind of project that was a little sus to begin with. So yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess my other question for you, Lacey, is, we have a question in the chat. So they are, actually, sorry, I'm reading through their question right now. So when it comes to Web3, are you seeing that there's a lot more individuals that are seeking out these type of jobs, and are you seeing that there's a high demand for those individuals as well?
I would say it's just from what I've seen, there are more projects than applicants. The imbalance is there, but that's like a typical marketplace issue, like a chicken and the egg issue. I think as more and more people are hopping into this space, there's more opportunities than not. And the applicant pools are much smaller. So like, for instance, devs, if you're a developer or a blockchain dev, like you are a hot commodity right now. Like everyone wants you, especially if you're good at what you do. If you're a community mod or a social media manager, everyone needs a social media manager or a Discord community mod. Like there's no way that you're going to build in Web3 and not have that. So there are a few hot jobs where it's like, you can definitely have the pick of your litter. Yeah, that's saying. And that imbalance might change over time as more and more people hop into this space, and it might become more competitive. We're still early, so.
Okay, awesome. And then besides, can you give the website for your company once again?
Yeah, it's metaintro.com, METAINTRO.com. Sorry, I'm pre-caffeinated.
No problem.
If you find us on Twitter, you'll see you can hop into our Discord. Our Discord link is in our bio. Come hang out, introduce yourself, and hopefully we'll help you land a Web3 job.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have an influx of people who are like, yes, this is what I'm doing for.
Right.
Time. You know, I mean, you took a little bit of time, but you provided so much information that I think piqued a lot of people's curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Now people are thinking, okay, well, I need to do my resume and I need to be out there, you know, and now they have a service that they can go and tap into. And I love the fact that, you know, you are jumping into this space, you're seeing the need, you're coming from a solid background as well. So you're seeing a need and you're trying to create that pathway for individuals to be able to jump in. Because, you know, as we're building, we need everyone for all walks of life, all types of background to be involved in this Web3 space that we're building. So now we're speaking about Web3, and we do have various individuals from different skill levels who are tapping in. Could you take the time to explain exactly what Web3 is or should be?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because I feel like everybody has like a very different explanation of what Web3 is. To me, Web3 is like the decentralized web. It's the next iteration of the internet. Under Web3, the only reason I'm about to say this is because I see Web2 individuals coming into the space and kind of mixing it up. Mm-hmm. Web3 is the umbrella. Underneath Web3, we have the metaverse, we have crypto, we have blockchain, we have NFTs. And Web3 is just the catalyst to be able to make those things happen. So in a nutshell, that's my take. Someone else might, go, Lacey, WTF are you talking about? Like, it should be like this. But that's the beautiful thing about Web3 is we're literally drawing on a whiteboard right now, which is incredible. And so whatever we want, we can make happen because we have these incredible tools and technology to be able to do so.
Yeah, I love the way that you broke that down, because now those who are hearing about it but don't truly understand it can at least start with that foundation, right? And they can build on that. Yeah. And I also love the fact that you're referencing the fact that a lot of Web2 people are coming in.
Yeah.
To mingle everything.
Right.
Yeah. I could always tell. I can always tell, and I try to point those individuals towards resources first to learn, and also everyone's learning on the fly. No one knows what they're doing, so if you feel a little bit lost and like everything's chaotic, it's because it is. So.
It is.
Right? So eventually we will get to the level where, we can all say this is the way it is. But right now it's just all about rolling up your sleeve, getting involved, participating with whatever skill set and skill levels that you're coming from. You're needed, right? And this is just another pathway of you putting your foot through that door. So I really appreciate you jumping on and shedding some information. Join metaintro.com, and that's METAINTRO.com. Go to their Twitter, because in their Twitter handle, there is their Discord, and you guys should definitely tap into their Discord, because as you all know, that's where the community is being built. And that's where you can get more information, tap into people. And I'm sure in your Discord, there's like a lot of opportunities being passed around.
Every hour. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, so definitely tap into Lacey. Tell her you knew her from this event. Yeah. You're ready to start, working towards building your Web3 career. That's going to be awesome. Web3 career, right?
Yeah. Listen, Lacey, look forward to, my name isn't the same on Discord, but I will be there, and I'm going to say, Lacey, it's Tam. So I'm going to. I'm speaking myself.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye. Thank you very much, Lacey. All right, so I want y'all to tap into our Discord because all the information that you've learned here, we will post all the links in there. We will post so many different things. And, you know, we are going to have an AMA as well. So we will have our committee members as well as some of the speakers join us on Clubhouse, Twitter, and Discord to be able to do a recap, a 30-minute recap of today's event. I want to see if Nicole wants to jump up. I know we were supposed to do a little bickering back and forth about this space, try to address some questions, you know, get to know our involvement in this space a little bit more. So let's do that before we wrap up. All right, we're going to have Miss Nicole join us in a few minutes. But Tam, man, this was good. You know, even with the technical issues, we still were able to, you know, have a good event. I'm still excited. I'm still excited about this conference. I'm excited that, you know, we've been able, hey, Nicole, we've been able to talk to a lot of wonderful ladies, you know, these past, it's been 8 days? Is it 9 days? 9 days now. Wow.
Sorry, 9 days, yeah. I do not come here a single day and not take away something that I'm about to utilize like immediately. So, and this comes from, again, like I'm the person here, I feel like just I'm surrounded by all this greatness, all this like, you know, feminine energy and like all this knowledge and just women who are really moving in this space. And I'm just like, I feel like oftentimes I'm like a little kid in the candy store, like, ooh, and I want that, and I want that, and I want to try that. Ooh, please, let me in. Can I pick me? Like, you know, so I'm just excited to be here and be able to learn and be in the space. And like I said, I haven't come here a single day yet and felt like I wasted my time or anything. So I would just suggest anybody that is on the fence, if you have friends that are on the fence about purchasing a ticket, tell them like, listen, there's a girl in there who she don't know nothing basically, and she just out here because she's interested and she's getting so much. And I will tell them all day long, like, listen, this is a space where you need to be in. You need to come in and get this information because there's so much value every single day. And I appreciate you, Yinka, and thank you, Nicole, as well.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad that you're getting a lot of knowledge from this because that's the intention of this conference. We want y'all to walk away with wealth of knowledge and to be able to say, you know what, I'm coming with some kind of understanding. I want to get involved some more. Join our Discord. It's womenofblockchain.org/Discord. Jump in there, connect with all of us. There's great speakers. There's great committee members coming from all walks of life and background as well. And one of them is our very own Technical, who's very technical because she's the one that's like been manning this whole event production on live stream.
Go ahead. Effort, yes, for sure. Hey, everybody. I don't get to come up as much as I would like to because I am behind the scenes, but I'm here every day making sure that folks come in and that backstage is working and that we are having some operations here on stage. So the whole production back there, that is what we're working out. But I want to, while you are here, Tam, to give you your kudos because you are one of the moderators of this and you are part of my mod squad. And so I appreciate you infinitely. Thank you so much for everything.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, so, you know, let's get into it, right? You know, when it comes to the blockchain space, there's so many things to be involved in and so many aspects of this ecosystem to understand, right? And, you know, we want to kind of play a game to find out who knows more, right? And I can tell you, you know, we all have various degrees of understanding of this space, okay? But together, you know, we're a solid team. So I guess the first question is, you know, how many blockchains are you guys involved in? Involved meaning you're maybe purchasing a cryptocurrency, you're building an NFT, maybe a DeFi project on one, etc. I know this is a hard one, and I'm like, why did I ask that question? So I'm like quickly trying to think how many.
I can name 6, I think.
6,
so,
okay.
6.
Name them, Nicole, because I'm going to write them down, and I'm going to be right there with you. Go.
All right. So there's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon, Tezos, Solana, and I just lost the last one. Dang it.
Palm.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Because that's what I was going to say too. And now I'm trying to think of, do I have any other one? I'm going to say no right now, but then I need to think about that more. Okay. So mine includes Litecoin. At one point I did do Dogecoin, Shiba, which, it's part of the Ethereum. So never mind. Actually, can I say, because we did say Polygon. So Polygon.
Okay, so we can take that off though.
Well,
yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to keep going.
Because we're doing blockchains, right? So blockchain.
Yeah, I'm blockchain. Let's just say blockchain. I'm blockchain. There we go.
Okay, blockchains. Well, mine is super simple. I'm only involved in one blockchain, and that's Bitcoin, the BCC blockchain. But I really feel like it's not because I don't have plans to go into other ones. I just want to make sure that for me, I have like a really solid background on how I came into this space, and that is through the Bitcoin blockchain. And then I plan on utilizing that to go forward and to go into the other ones. And ETH is one, and the Solana is also one that Nicole, it's on my list of like next steps. So absolutely, that's all I got. I got Bitcoin.
No, that's awesome. And I think a lot of people do get introduced to Bitcoin. And speaking of Bitcoin, people look at the prices of Bitcoin, right? And they're like, oh my God, it's too high. Like, it's weird because Bitcoin was low and nobody wanted it. Then it became high. Then all of a sudden, it's interesting, but then there's the excuse that it's too high. And a lot of people like Naja and, experts like them, or I should say enthusiasts like them, come into this space and they're like, providing education. And one thing that they always say is that it's never too late, right? Because Google stock is like what, thousands of dollars, but people still want to buy Google stock, right? So the same thing with Bitcoin, and this is not financial advice, but with Bitcoin, the good thing about it is there's fractionalization of it, right? So you can purchase not necessarily one Bitcoin, but you can purchase a fraction of a Bitcoin called Satoshis. And Naja had referenced that on Monday that, if you get 1 million Satoshis, then, you're starting on a solid foundation there. So yeah, what do you guys think about that?
I'd say like as far as like me coming into the space, and I came in with some of the same, understandings or what I thought was understanding of the space. And that was one of the things that I had heard often was that like, it's so expensive, like you can't get in. And so I am happy that though, even hearing that, I still wanted to know what it was, right? And so with wanting to know what it was, I was like, oh, okay, you guys are wrong. I actually can get it. I might not be able to get a whole one right now, but there is a way to accumulate, like, And so I think that it just points back to what I'm always telling my friends, my family, people who I've told about the conference, like, come get the education, like, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. You're listening to people that don't know. Like, mostly, if you're not in this space, most of your circle probably isn't in this space as well, right? And so if you continue to listen to them and they're not even here, like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, right? You want to go to where the information is. You want to go to people that have the background or who are interested and can tell you, like, yo, this is what it actually is. This is how it works. And so it just points back to the crucial point about educating yourself. Like, surround yourself, find your community, Discord, Twitter, like all these things, all these resources, get out there and get to learning.
It's so true. So true. Go ahead, Nicole.
I think for me, I am somebody who tries stuff. So for me, when I get interested, I'm going to go try it, and then I'll have the story to tell. And I'm not telling you somebody else's thing that they're doing. I'm going to tell you what I did. So I did it's just an experiment. So that's how I kind of test stuff out. So, I was hearing all these things like what it is, what are people doing, la, 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 la. And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to do a controlled experiment. So I'm going to buy $100 and I am going to put it into traditional stocks and see what happens there. I'm not buy $100. I'm going to take $100 and put it in traditional stocks in the traditional space over here. And then I am going to buy $100 worth of Bitcoin and $100 worth of Ethereum. And so I did that and then did a controlled experiment over the course of a month. And I watched the money fluctuate. And now, you know, I can say, okay, so over the course, this one did better than this one did. And, you know, it happens to be for that that finite little period. But I also now understand the kind of relationship between the two. That either is there or is not, but is there. And then I understand, you know, kind of that $100 did way more in this space than it did in my traditional world, right? So if I'm looking for something that's a little bit quicker or a little bit that I can see, because I'm somebody like I like to see stuff happen, then that's where I'm going to get the most motivation, is by actually seeing it here in this space. And so now I can say, okay, so now let's think about that. When that $100 would have been $5,000, if I had done that during the same time frame with the same circumstances, what would that be? So I can then kind of visualize that, forecast it for my personal self. But I also think that I listen to people who I deem as experts, even though we don't use that word in this space. But there are people who definitely have knowledge, and their experience puts them squarely in a place where I appreciate them. And one of them is absolutely Naja Roberts. So when I heard them say and describe what buying the dip was, that made sense. And I said, so, you know, for me, that works. But, you know, none of us will ever be giving you financial advice unless you are in a position to do so. So I just want to make that clear, that nothing I've said has been financial advice. It was my own experience. This is Nicole, and my voice is resting for the moment.
Absolutely. All of this is just experience. And I'm 100%, like, I believe, like, the same thing they said. Like, there are people that you can look at them and they might say that they feel like they're experts, but their experience doesn't speak to that, but also, like, people around them don't. Like, you know, and so it's very important to connect with those people that you deem as the professionals in this space. That's what I call them. I call them professionals. Like, you know, you're professional out here in the crypto, professional Nicole out here with Discord, you're professional. Like, you know, I'm just out here, I feel like, just learning. So I don't feel like I give myself that title, but very much I looked at Naja Roberts and listened to, like, what she said. And then I listened to other people's account of how their interaction and how, like, you know, they're learning things from her. And so, yeah, she becomes an expert in my book. Absolutely. She becomes a professional. And then from that, I'm still, you know, taking my chance to what I'm learning and going to, like you said, going to go see, putting it into a little bit of, like, you know, a little bit of a test, a control test on different things, everything from NFTs to cryptocurrencies to just even them giving advice on how you should interact with the space, like, you know, on safety measures, those types of things, like making sure that I am doing my due diligence on my part as well. Like, absolutely. And I was the same way as you, like, Nicole. I heard, like, you know, Naja Roberts, and I was like, what? Like, this lady's awesome. You know, she knows so much stuff, and she's been teaching me so much stuff. And so another way that I always say, like, with interacting in this space, if it's not somebody that's trying to teach me, you know, and not somebody that's like, listen, here's some resources, here's where you can learn about this a little bit more yourself, you know, it's always, it makes, like I said, it makes me raise my eyebrow if you're not talking education in this space. Like, you know, it makes me raise my eyebrow if you're only talking price and money, and, you know, I'm just like, like, you know, it just rubs me wrong. And I haven't been steered wrong with trusting my intuition in that, and then leaning on the education that I've gotten in the space either.
Yeah, definitely agree with both of y'all. I think we may have one more question, time for one more question. So the question is, you know, have any of y'all, well, I'm actually, Tam, I think you've already answered this, but have any of y'all created your own NFT? And if so, on what platform?
Are you starting with me or Tam?
I think
yeah, I'll go ahead.
Okay.
So for me, yeah, a lot. As far as publicly displayed ones, that I started at the end of 2021. So I put together a collection of my thoughts and minted them on the blockchain. And so they are there. Some are in Ethereum, some are in Polygon, but they are there, available for purchase out on OpenSea. You can find my collection at Gallery O Thought. It's just O, like O, the letter, capital O of Thought. And what I did was a whole process, right? So for me, 2021 at the end, man, that last quarter was tumultuous. We had lots of change going on at that time and decisions being made. And I wanted to go into 2022 clean. So what I did was I took the way that I felt about certain situations, in across all different things in life, and I minted them. So I wanted to leave certain things in 2021. And so that was my way of doing it. I minted them into NFTs. They are available out there, part of my collection. You can find that collection at techniverse.xyz, and that's techniverse.xyz. That is a virtual art gallery that you can walk around in. But I minted all of that into 2021. And I was literally doing this on New Year's Eve. So I was in the room for Bitcoin billionaires, listening to them as they're bringing in the new year and just like trying to like get all these things minted and making sure that they were available and kind of documented out on OpenSea so that I could leave them there. And then I went into 2022 minting too. So I stayed up, I think, for 4 or 5 hours, just minting away. And I had all of these things and they were on my plans for 2022. So I literally, I kind of do this every year, as most of us do, where, you take the end of the year and you write out your goals and objectives for the upcoming year. I put all of that into words and into pictures. And my images are NFTs. And that is my Google telling me hello. But so I did that. And so I'm part of class of 2021. I'm definitely class of 2022. I have work out on that's available publicly out on OpenSea, on Ethereum and Polygon, out on Tezos, on Object. I'll be minting on Calumet. I have a series coming up called Predator. I also have a drop that I'm trying to get done for my birthday next week. And then also for this event, I am on Solana. So I have created an NFT for us. And if I can talk and bring it up at the same time, I will do that. But it is available. It's on our auction. And so I am trying to get that up right now. But it's available for us. There we go. And I'm gonna share that screen really, really quickly. But for this one, what I did literally, and this is GAN but I went ahead and I selected. I chose to present this particular image. And what I did was Yinka had told me what we were doing. And, she kind of described this process that we were going to be bringing out. And she said, hey, it's the International Women of Blockchain Conference. And, this is what we want to do. We don't have a lot of time. It's in March. So, when I started freaking out, I went ahead and I created this image. And it literally is International Women of Blockchain. And this is what came out of that spoken word. So International Women of Blockchain. And when I look at this, I see our struggle, right? So women on the blockchain, we have all of these things that we're dealing with. So our hands are always moving around and we are moving forward. And I feel like the image, our sister in the middle is moving forward, but there's someone behind her. And that person it could represent people that you're leaving behind. It can represent people that you don't want to leave behind or things you're trying to get away from. But it can also represent the little girls who we're bringing up behind us. And so there's all these different themes that I can think of when I look at this that just spoke to me. And so this is what I find to be very cool, because, you know, you're going to look at this and some people might see splatter on a page. Other people might see something totally different. But for me, this is the blockchain. This is our voice. This is us trying to be heard and seen, and the struggle that we go through. So it's not always bad, but it is definitely beautiful. The journey is what's important. And so that is what my piece means to me. And I appreciate, you know, just being able to be a part of what we are doing here, and being able to share that because, you know, it's kind of cool just to be able to talk about it a little bit and share it with you guys. It is available for auction. It was intended to end on my birthday, but I think it's ending on the 20th. So you got a couple more days to get those bids in, and definitely, you know, support the project, support what we're doing, and get yourself a really cool piece of artwork. It is 3200 by 3200 pixels, and it is a PNG. Yeah, so that is my first ever on Solana. Me minting myself onto Solana. So that is my genesis there. So thanks.
Yeah, awesome. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you minting your first.
Congratulations.
Solana. Yes, congratulations. You know, we have so many different chains that we all listed, and some of us couldn't finish listing, but you know, there's a lot of different chains out there, and all of them serve a great purpose. I think, you know, for us to be able to tap into these different chains really means that we're trying to exercise that whole decentralization mindset, and be involved in all different types of work, or all different types of chain, and get to know them, because some of them may serve certain purpose, while the others are not, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's also nothing wrong if you know, you find one that you solely are interested in because you tested others out as well and they didn't serve the purpose that you're looking for. So I want to encourage everyone to look into the different chains. There's a whole lot of them being created and built, and they all have a certain use case attached to them. You know, and we're going to talk about some of these chains or marketplaces, or actually some of these cryptocurrencies a little bit more in great detail throughout this event. We're also going to tap into how to mint your NFT. We're going to talk about, you know, some tools that you can use to create your NFTs. And we've had ladies who say that they just use their phone. They downloaded an app onto their phone and they used it to create their NFTs. There's been others that actually write codes to create their NFTs. So there's so many different ways of people creating their NFTs. And I think it's going to be really interesting to tap into that and get all of the viewers to be able to understand and walk away with knowledge about that, and also how to mint as well. So with that said, I want to say thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. It has been an eventful day. We had some great individuals join us. We did have, you know what, hey, it happens, right? And it's going to happen with live stream. And, you know, lately there's been a lot more issues with certain platforms. Discord was down yesterday. Hopefully, you know, it does not go through that again today. I believe Spotify as well. So, you know, there's things that we should be in tune with that's going on with technology right now. So hopefully it's not on a grander scale and it's not a foreshadow of some issues that may be coming to fruition. But anyways, with that said, I want y'all to tap into our Discord. It's womenofblockchain.org/Discord. You can join us right there. Come in, connect with us, connect with the speakers. There's a breakout room that's created for today's event. Make sure you tap into that. We will start posting all the links that we talked about here from all of our speakers. And we want to continue the conversation. We want y'all to tap in. Join us at the AMA. Ask us anything, or ask me anything. We'll have some of the speakers come back. We will have the committee members there. We'll be able to answer your questions and give you a recap. It's a 30-minute AMA, so we want y'all to tap in and join in as soon as possible. If your friends have not purchased a ticket yet, make sure that you copy that web address down, womenofblockchain.org. Send it to them, encourage them to join. We have released some of our replays, so you can get those replays either from our Discord or on our social media platforms, and send it to your friends. Be like, look, you need to tap in. There is 31 days of content that we're going to bring you. And that means over 100 speakers are going to come on this stage and speak to you. And these are all women. They are all women. Hello. In a space where they believe there's no women, right?
We're here.
Can we marinate in that for a minute? Because you guys, this has been for so many reasons. Not only is the committee, like, shout out to the committee, you guys, thank you. But everyone attached to this project is a female, a woman who was given of herself, given her time, her talent to make this thing come together. And so, that in and of itself is extraordinary. It is also significant because we do have over 100 speakers, and because we are doing this on platforms that they told us would not be possible to do it. We don't have, kind of the fanfare that some of these other initiatives do. And so we're still putting on a quality project, and that is because we came together and said we want to do this, and it has happened, and it is continuing to happen. So to all of our speakers, thank you guys. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for giving your excellence and your expertise to this particular conference. And we know it's Women's History Month. You have so many options because we're here. And I think that yesterday definitely highlighted that for a lot of us. There were so many different conferences that we could have taken part in. You guys were here and you were supporting us, so we appreciate that. And I think that, yesterday was mind-blowing in the fact that I did see so many different options. And so as women, we are coming together and we're saying, you know what? We're here and we are going to be seen. We're going to be heard. And that's what it is. And so it has been good. But yeah, come join us for the AMA.
Bye, everyone. See you tomorrow. Table Talk Thursday. All right.
Yay. Bye, y'all.
Bye.